Okay, welcome back. Good morning. Let's go ahead. Welcome to the third lecture, CA final, direct tax. We are in the introduction of our syllabus, still in the introduction, and as I have clearly told you, we need two more lectures to finish this introduction, which is today and the next lecture. We are currently discussing tax rates applicable under the old regime. Now, for those thinking, sir, old regime is going on, maybe only individual is over, two lectures are over. When will this get over? It will take the time that it has to. But for now, I will go to Roman 2. Now, what I expect from you is that you tell me, sir, kiska 2? Old regime, but what 2? Old regime understood. Second assessee. So, first assessee that we have done is individual. Now we will be doing the second assessee. And little good news. You know, I always give you bad news, bad news. One good news is that this time I am going to cover with you HUF, AOP BOI and AJP, that is artificial juridical person, together. We will be learning the tax rates of HUF, AOP BOI, AJP together. No problem in the audio and the video clarity, right? Everything is perfect? HUF, AOP, BOI, AJP together. Sir. Third lecture. Only one assessee in the old regime. So, fatafat portion complete. Fatafat, that is the reason I am merging the three, right? Kya yes? No. The rates are, the reason why we are merging the three assessees is that the rates are same. First good news. You want more good news? Absolutely same as 1A. 1A, normal individuals. Array, 1 individual A, first category. Basic exemption of 2,50,000, 250 to 5 lakh 5%, 5 lakh to 10 lakh 20%, and beyond 10 lakh 30%. The basic tax rates are absolutely same as first category of individuals. So higher basic exemption limit is only for resident, senior and super senior citizens. Otherwise, for all other individuals, including non-residents, 250, same. So maximum that ICAI can do with you to trick you is that they will say, Mr. X got married at the age of 20 and immediately started his HUF. I'll talk a little about it, how you can open HUF. He started HUF at the age of 20. Today he is 80 years old. So HUF is 60 years old. So basic exemption, but 2,50,000 only is the maximum that institute can do. It will always remain 2,50,000. AOP BOI, association of person, is a group of people who have come together for a common purpose. Organizations like Lions Club, Road Track Club. By any chance, anybody from HR College, South Bombay? HR South Bombay? No? I have some online. Second best college of South Bombay. They have this club, Road Track Club. In fact, lots of places you find Road Track Club, Lions Club, very old organization. Supposedly Lions Club is 100 years old. More than 80. The basic exemption? 2,50,000. You understood or no? That's the maximum that ICAI can do for you. That's the maximum that ICAI can play with you here. So, three assessees done together, HUF, AOP, BOI, AJP. And the good news is that, yeah bro, the rates are absolutely, the rates are absolutely same as 1A. Is that clear? Okay. See, small discussion on what is HUF, AOP, BOI, AJP. AOP, BOI, so you've understood. Group of people who have come together for a common purpose or goal. What is HUF? Why it is? I know that you all know everything. I know that, sir, kya HUF ka meaning sikhayega kya CA final. But just a quick thing about HUF. In India, we have a law called Hindu Succession Act, also known as the Mitakshara law, if you may have studied this in the 12th standard, under which 4 generations of a Hindu family have got right over the family assets. I'll only talk about things that you don't know. 4 generations have right over the family assets. So if Mr. X has any asset, His children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren have right over that asset. And this right you get by birth in the family. So in the good old days, if you see that, there are two brothers, both of them have one child, so they will get a share for that child. So for more share, there used to be competition. So one brother has, you see, one generation or two generations before you will find that they had 10 children, 20 children, and no Netflix, of course. Because every member gets right in the family assets by way of birth. Now, if that asset is an income generating asset, then you will get a share in that income also. So every member of the family will get some share of the income generated by the asset. It will be difficult for the income tax department to levy tax on an individual member. They have more people to tax. So what they will do is, the moment the family earns income, they will levy tax on the family on the entire income, and thereafter you can distribute the income to the individual members. No need to pay any tax. I am sure you have studied this exemption, that share of profit received by a member from HUF is exempt, and the logic is very clear. HUF has already paid tax. HUF is also a tax evasion tool in our country. Let me explain how. I am only talking about things that you don't know, that you may not have studied before, and this is your last chance. Tax evasion tool. You, sir, because are we giving slabs again to HUF? This same as one, 2,50,000, no tax. So again basic exemption, 5%, 20%, and after 10 lakh. Supposingly as an individual, I have crossed the 10 lakh rupees annual income. So what rate I fall in? Assuming old regime, I will always stay in the old regime till the time they don't abolish. 30%. So any income that I now earn will be taxable at 30%. And whatever, examples I take in class that I am below the basic exemption limit, etc., etc., touch wood, but with the grace of God and little bit of hard work, I do fall in 30% tax bracket. Bro, I told you that my commitment, I will make you fall in 30% the day you qualify with a good result, of course. So obviously, after 14 years of teaching, I do fall in 30% tax bracket. So how do I save my tax? Anybody here has income tax officer in their family? Family member, relative, ACIT, DCIT, joint commissioner, anybody in your family is an officer? Please clear it right. Nahi pakka? Otherwise, I will have to pause the video and pause the recording and give the example of the records. Nahi? Who is the owner of SS Pro Educate? Empowering the Pro NU, one-to-one mentorship for professional courses in commerce. From 11th standard to professional degree. Who is the owner? Acha, you, by the way, this brings me to the point. We have sent the backup to every student. If anybody has still not received, please wait back after the class. Give me your details. I'll give you my office WhatsApp number. You send your name to that WhatsApp number and they will process it. Who is the owner? My office, matlab? You think SS means me? Ma'am ka name also starts with S only. She is the owner. But wo bhi chhod do. I am her employee for all purposes. It is Siddharth Surana, HUF, who is the owner. So anybody purchasing video lectures on my website, e-commerce website, I told you about it. You make payment and instantly lectures will get activated. Try karo. Try to buy something just to get a feel that how e-commerce websites work. Just buy something. Just buy it. Try no. Buy something so you'll get, how e-commerce works. Later in our syllabus, we have taxation on e-commerce. So for that experience, practical experience, you may buy something from the website today itself. Next time you buy anything, you go check, the amount will go in the account of Siddharth Surana HUF. HUF is the owner of that brand. I have registered my trademark in the name of my HUF. The money is going in the account of my HUF. I call it tax adjustment, but actually it is evasion, manipulation. Do you understand what I am trying to say here? HUF is a tax evasion tool. Sir, then why does the government not abolish? Because once I have exhausted my slabs, I am again taking the slabs in the name of my HUF. In GST also, I am taking the 20 lakh ka benefit, if you understand. Sir, why does the government not abolish? You need to understand that everywhere numbers don't work. You got to understand the political impact, the social impact of it. The fact of the matter is that India is a Hindu majority country. And HUF was not started by Modi ji, whom we consider as communal. HUF was started decades ago. No government can abolish the concept of HUF. They will never get re-elected. They will never get re-elected. Government knows that people are evading taxes by forming HUF. Their own income they are diverting in the name of the HUF. But normal loss. Bola, we will recover elsewhere. वैसे भी, I must tell you, only CA final students understand this. This is too deep. That taxes for our government have become IFOF. Late fees is PGBP. This is too deep, bro. Too deep. You know, you require another level to understand what I just said. Taxes are IFOS, late fees. They have made portals, GST portal, MCA portal, the portal which never works, especially on the due date. So basically, you are late, and then they will levy something called late fees interest penalty. While GST MCA portals were horrible, income tax website was excellent. It was perfect, flawless. Even on the due date, it took the pressure. So then industry, taxpayers, they pressurize the government. Sir, why don't you make GST and MCA portals like income tax? Government said, Acha, you want all same. They made all same. They made income tax ka new portal, new e-filing portal. You must have visited at least, even if you work in audit. Website to dekha hoga. They made it same as GST. It will never work. So government is like HUF is normal. Sure. But yes, in the name of HUF, you can start manipulating. You can start evading taxes. And if this gives you idea, okay, wow, sir, must have. Today only I will go home and open HUF. So wait, time please. You can't. Because for opening HUF, you have to be first married. So you can't be like, sir, today evening I will open HUF. No, that's not possible. Now, only for saving tax, do you want to take the risk? Then the choice is yours. I mean, in my case, what happened? Already the risk was taken. So at least save the tax. The day I got married, my HUF ka registration date is my wedding date. Date of incorporation on the PAN card of my HUF is my wedding date. Same day I started my HUF. The responsibility is mine. The slabs are also mine. You can't take that unless you are already married. So you need to be married. Plus, you need to belong to Hinduism, Jainism, Sikhism or Buddhism. 4 religions ka people. Hinduism, Jainism, Sikhism, Buddhism are allowed to open HUF because they follow Hindu Succession Act. Under Parsi, Boman Irani, Ratan Tata, John Abraham. Under Islam, Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan. Their succession laws are different. They don't follow Hindu Succession Act. They are not allowed to open HUF. They can't open HUF. Now don't tease them. Convert hona. Yeah, don't do that. Please. Unfair, huh, bro. Have regards to the minorities also, please. But the fact is, the point is that Hindu, Sikh, Jain and Buddhist, you are aware of these 4 religions? They are allowed to open HUF, other religions. So I wanted to talk about HUF, but I wanted to talk about things that you don't. Please agree with this, that these were things you were probably not aware of. Baki other things, unlimited liability, co-parsoner, karta, I was not supposed to talk about those things. Hey, CA final, come on. To get married, open HUF, start saving taxes. Simple. What simple? आप chronology समझो, any मोटा भाई fan? You know मोटा भाई meme chronology? So get married, open HUF, start saving taxes. That is HUF, AOPB, I already told you. AJP is artificial juridical person. AJP. Any assessee who has earned income but does not fall in the above categories like individual, HUF, company, firm will fall in artificial juridical person. You were aware of the full form? ये क्या है? Class notes के अंदर I have to write in short so that you can revise quickly. Otherwise, the detailed theory textbook covers everything in detail. No, AJP, artificial juridical person. Okay. Anybody has a pet at home? What? Dogs, plural. 2 dogs. Their names?
Arya and Peru.
Arya and Peru. Like Peru, wo. Yellow color? Green color? White. Arya and Peru. Supposingly you make them run a race and they win some income in the race. They also have to pay tax. Now you can't say, nahi, sir, wo to kaate. You as the taxpayer are responsible on behalf of your pet to pay the taxes. Your pet is artificial juridical person. Only you, no one else. Unrelated question. Any of the female students of the class who is married? Anyone? नहीं, final में होता है. Final में I have hundreds of students who have been married. Some have quit CA and I have forcefully made them come back. No? Just to let you know, dear female students of the class, in the next few years you will have a pet at home. And you can make that guy do whatever you want. Chew, Tommy, chew. You will get that. But as of now, by the way, in income tax, that guy will be considered as individual. Just to let you. So AJP. You also know, you heard about that Chitti the robot? Chitti the robot, Rajnikant? So that scientist Vasikaran in that movie Robot was individual. But the robot that he made, supposingly that robot starts earning income. Now that robot is not a natural person. So not individual, HUF, company, firm, nothing will fall in the definition of artificial juridical person, and the scientist being the caretaker is responsible just like you are responsible for Arya and Peru. Arya and Peru. You are responsible as a caretaker. For that matter, let us be clear, for any artificial person, be it firm or company or AOP or HUF, some natural person has to be responsible. Like HUF mein karta, firm mein partner, company mein director. Understood? How would government know we have a dog? Government will not come and ask you that do you have a dog? But if the dog has to earn income, the person who is paying that income will pay that income in the name of the dog. Abhi, if you take in cash, then government does not know anything. We are Marwadis. We do so many things in cash, government never comes to know. But if that payer is going to pay you through banking channels, so that payer will insist on a bank account of your dog. And to open the bank account, you will have to apply for a PAN card. And the moment government allots PAN card, government knows that you have an income earning dog. Not just a dog, but an income generating asset called dog. Okay? That's, see, off the records, you do anything, government will never come to you. Of late, they have implemented measures in our country, measures with which tax evasion is going to be very, very difficult, almost impossible. Because wherever you are doing a high value transaction, you open fixed deposit, you take a bank loan, you buy insurance policies, whatever you do and wherever you do, your KYC documents are collected and information is being submitted to the government. You buy a 2-wheeler, 4-wheeler, any post office saving deposit, simply bank ka saving account or FD account also you open, government gets that data from the banks. So very difficult to conceal things from the government. And also understand, the payer who is paying your dog will show it as an expense and claim deduction. So then that person has to pay through banking channels. Unless you are smart enough to convince that person that pay it in your name. Say Arya and Peru are getting any income and you convince that payer to pay in your, what is your name? To pay in your name, Shivani. So then the government will never come to know you have. But this, the law is if the government comes. So are you clear about the meanings of HUF, AOP, BOI, AJP, and also clear that the rates are going to be same as first category ka individual. These are basic rates. And whether from now onwards I mention this or I do not, let's be very, very clear. Special rates like casual winnings, long-term capital gain, etc. Were they applicable for individuals? Separate normal income, normal rate, special income, special rate. So thus the same part, basic rates remain same, will also be for your normal income. Special income will be still taxed at your special rate. Is that clear? Chalo. This is basic tax. After basic tax, there were three concepts that we studied under individual. First, rebate. Slap the person sitting next to you hard if that person does not know. And if you don't know, tell that person also to slap you. What should I write here? Whoever gave this answer and your neighbor did not, you can slap him. Not applicable. Sir, why? Three conditions to be eligible for rebate. Resident, individual, income up to 5 lakh. So this is not individual. Everywhere else rebate we will say not applicable. Is that clear? Next concept. Congratulations. And celebration. आगे का line आता है. I want the world to know if you are happy as can be. Google किया. Absolutely same. Means after 50 lakhs, 10%. After 1 crore, 15%. After 2 crore, 25%. After 5 crore, 37. Greater. Marginal relief का concept same. 25 and 37 not applicable in certain cases. Same. Everything that you have studied in surcharge under individuals will be absolutely same. See, surcharge is for all individuals and for all other assessees also. But did I tell you in the last class that for other assessees the rates are different? But that is companies and firms. For these assessees, surcharge ka rates are also same. Ye clear hai? But last year, Auntie brought an amendment here. Auntie said that if it is an AOP that has only corporate members, if it is an AOP that has only corporate members, see what is AOP? A group of persons. So Lions Club mein everybody is individual. But what if I tell you there is an organization called Association of Pharmaceutical Companies? It is an AOP. And who are the members? Companies, pharma companies. It does not have individual members. A club like Cricket Club of India or Mumbai Cricket Association, individuals can go and become members over there. But there are some organizations where only company can become members. So what is this AOP? Where all the members are corporate. Then maximum surcharge will be 15%. In other words, you can say, if you want for your understanding, you may write 2537 is not applicable. So after 1 crore 15 will remain 15, after 2 crore will remain 15, after 5 crore 2537 completely inapplicable. If there is an AOP which has only companies as members, so only 15%, means 10 and 15, 2537 not applicable. Sir, in the first lecture in manner of learning, there is one thing which I did not tell you because I was waiting for a situation. One of the biggest difference between us and the others will be, we will not just learn what is the law. And this your seniors must have definitely told you if they have studied from me. We will learn why. What is the logic? Nothing is bigger than logic. See, if you know the reason behind enactment of a provision, then you don't have to learn it. Understanding is very important, and understanding will take place only when you know why this was enacted. Who are the members in this AOP that we are talking about? Only companies. Later we are going to learn company ka tax rates. In company ka tax rates, you will be taught that for companies the surcharge rates are like this. Domestic company 7% and 12%, two rates are there. And foreign companies, non-domestic companies, we have 2% and 5%. So if we talk about range of surcharge for companies, 2, 5, 7, 12. Highest is 12. In companies, highest is 12. That also we will learn when we do companies. But one thing we understand, companies ka surcharge can never be more than 12%. तो group of companies का how we will make 25 and 37? Individually, a company का surcharge is highest 12%. Then उनके association का we can't make 25. Of course, the range is 10 and 15, so we are stopping at 15. We are not changing that to 12. So we'll keep the same range. 15 is almost near 12 only. We remove the higher surcharge of 25 and 37. So why are we restricting this? Ka answer is, in any case, corporates have very little surcharge. Acha, uska bhi logic hai. You'll be like, sir, individuals have 25, 37. Why do companies have less surcharge? Because their basic tax is high. That we will discuss. When we do companies, we will discuss. So why their surcharge is lower? There is reason behind that also. We will discuss that. But right now, why 25, 37 not applicable here? Because their surcharge is already low. So group of companies ka we can't make surcharge 25 or 37. Is that understood? So surcharge is same, but only corporate members. Only corporate members. AOP containing only corporate members. Maximum 50. Is that clear, everyone? And for all those students on the chat box or individually before the class, after the class, please stop this discussion on special rates ka rebate once and for good, please. Please. Okay. I have given you the rules of rebate. Resident individual income up to 5 lakh, actual tax or 12,500, whichever is lower. That also only the old regime. New regime maybe there is rebate. Now, uska rule is different. The income threshold is 7 lakh, the quantum is 25,000. But we don't want grapevine in the classroom. We want proper knowledge. So don't be ahead, don't stay behind. Stay with me. Whatever I have taught, that has to be clear. If we talk about special rates, in that I'm, because of disturbance, online, offline, students are coming and discussing this with me individually. Let me get this sorted once and for good. 112A is long-term capital gain on stock market. In this section, it is clearly written, no rebate will be given against this tax. But for the other sections like 111A, 112, in fact, even casual winnings, they have not written anything. That means as per law, in the law, what is written in the law, this is the only special rate where rebate is not. And that I will do in writing when I actually discuss long-term capital gain on stock market. That day when I teach you this section, in the points to be noted, I will be writing no rebate against this. But that's the only place where we will write it. Now what has happened? This problem is arising because of your office ka knowledge. See, keep office ka knowledge in office. If office was going to teach you everything, then you were not required to come to class. And of course, if classroom can teach you everything, then articleship was not required. Office will give you practical knowledge, classroom will give you exam related knowledge. So what happened when this year ka income tax utility was enabled? Starting mein rebate was allowed against all the incomes except this, because in the law only this is excluded. Suddenly, somewhere in the month of July, 5th of July, they changed the utility and started disallowing rebate against all special rate income, which is against the law. You go and read, show me a section where it is stated that special rates ke samne no rebate, other than 112. No, sir. In the law, it is very clear, only this is written. Everything else you are allowed. Sir, but they are not allowing. So, let me also remind you, ladies and gentlemen, what happens in the ITR utility is not final. If they are going against the law and causing prejudice to you, harm to you, loss to you, there is a mechanism called appeal. You first tell the officer, sir, you have to give me rebate because I am claiming as per law. And if you don't, I will appeal against you. And that appeal is also online. You are eligible unless they amend the law. So what is happening in office? Unfortunately, we cannot change it. Office mein to we say that file written by the due date. July, October and November. Office mein to on the due date that website is only not working. So what to do now? Uska classroom mein what can I do if website is not working? And there are certain things that are beyond our control. So one day when I will discuss with you 112, I will make you specifically write in class. Kya sir? Against this rebate is not allowed. In theory, that's the only thing that I will make you write. Ab, section 111A ke andar it is not written. No. And how can I teach you in class just because utility is not allowed? I can discuss only what is written in the law. Okay. So is that part no confusion? Is that clear? Individually, lot of students came and asked. Somebody just typed also. So I wanted this knowledge once and for good for everyone sitting in the class. Chalo, theek hai. And last, come on, the easiest of all. HEC. Don't tell this to auntie, please. Same and same for everyone, bro. When I say same for everyone, matlab old regime or new regime, individual or company, always 4% on basic minus rebate if applicable, plus surcharge if applicable. 4% says always. Always. Rich or poor, everyone will pay 4% says. There is one thing common between me and Mukesh bhai. We both pay 4% says. One thing common between me and Mukesh. We both pay 4%. चल छोड़. Because CA final का students ने एक तो they stone hearted. आत्मा मर गया है कि only dead bodies are lying here. They have no fun in life. Open your front camera, smile and look at yourself, and then also check your current expression, and just you only decide. You look good when. Keep smiling, that's in your control. Okay? Smile without reason also. That's in your control. That's in your control. Next, assessee. Assessee number 3. So by the way, number wise it is 3, but actually it is, we have finished 4. This is the 5th that way, if you understand. Okay. Next, may we do firm. Wherever in income tax law we write firm, we will also include LLP. For tax purposes, LLPs are treated at par with normal partnership firms. So firm including LLP, and the same rates are also applicable for local authority. Because same rates are applicable, again we are merging. Firm, LLP, local authority. First step is going to be basic tax. Basic tax for partnership firms is a flat rate of 30%. Sir, they don't have slabs. Companies and firms don't have slabs. Flat rate. Every rupee will be taxable at 30%. So supposingly you and me have 1 lakh ka income, no tax. Kyun sir? Below basic exemption. But firm will have 30,000 rupees ka tax. 10,000 income, 3,000 tax. 1,000 income, 300 rupees tax. 10 rupees income, 3 rupees tax. Every rupee will be taxable at a flat rate of 30%. As an assessee, it is harmful. You know, they don't get slabs, they don't get 5%, 20, direct 30. But as a CA student, this is good news for you. How? You write your heads of income and you get your net taxable total income on your calculator. You know, you add all of them so that you can write the amount. The amount is there on your calculator. Let it remain on your calculator. Multiply by 30, divide by 100. Okay. You don't have to calculate slabs. Very easy calculation. Flat rate of 30% for partnership firms. In fact, if in CA final you ever get a question on partnership firms, you are the luckiest person on the planet. Because firms are now the only taxpayer where there is no new regime. You only have old regime. In new regime, you have tax rates for individual, HUF, AOP. Last year there was an amendment. HUF, AOP, BOI, AJP, everyone has new rates. Companies obviously do. Even cooperative society. There is old regime, new regime. Partnership firm is the only taxpayer where there is no new regime. So you have to solve the question only once. No option available. समझा क्या? So flat rate of 30%. Is that clear? Now, again and again I am saying and still writing this, whether I tell you this or no, whenever you are calculating tax, this is only the normal rate. So if there is any income taxable at special rate, it will continue to apply. Partnership firm can have casual winnings, capital gains, special rate will apply. Separate your income, segregate your income, normal rate, special income, special rate. Basic tax is very easy. Is that understood? Sure. Next, 3 concepts. This is waste of time now. Come on. Not applicable. Surcharge, of course, it is applicable. Surcharge is applicable for all the assesses. Hello. But then under surcharge, while it is applicable to all, the rates are going to change. So we already know the rates of surcharge that are applicable for individual and HUF. Now let's talk about the surcharge applicable to the other assesses. For partnership firm, if your net taxable total income is up to rupees 1 crore, there will be no surcharge. Income up to 1 crore, there will be no surcharge. So firms and companies will have surcharge only where their income exceeds 1 crore. Now then, surcharge is one place, one area where brightest students go wrong in exam. See, learning in the classroom, this is very easy. Iska itna, iska itna, iska itna. You finish this. But when it comes as an exam question, you will calculate entity. Now nobody is going to remind you that 80 lakhs ka income hai. So individual you apply 10%, but firms, companies you don't apply anything. You have to look at NTTI question is saying calculate income and tax. You look at NTTI and your brain should tell you yes surcharge, no surcharge, how much surcharge. And more practice with different numbers is the only solution. Sir, so where can we practice questions from? Where? Thank you. There, out of 5 books, 3 books are only question answer ka books. Class question book, additional question bank and MCQ. And MCQs are so dangerous. Let's see, if you have not taken the correct surcharge, it is not going to match. Achha, by the way, if supposingly the correct answer is 10 lakh rupees, so 10 lakh will be in the option. The other options are not going to be 10 crore, 20 crore, 30 crore. Obviously, when I make MCQs, how I do it? I solve every question 4 times. First, I solve it correctly, randomly decide that as one of the 4 options. Then I start thinking as a CA student. Achha, student karega, तो what mistake a student will make? Individual hai, 80 lakhs hai, surcharge should come at 10%. But that student will forget. Without surcharge, only says what answer is coming. That is my other option. Yeah, partnership firm hai, so same thing I will do. 80 lakh pe correct answer is without surcharge. But I will do with 10%. You understand this? Now you will be making one of the mistakes. I make 4 mistakes. Matlab 3 mistakes and give the 3 other options. You will be making that mistake, getting one of the other answers, and then your answer is not matching. You will be sending a WhatsApp to me. Sir, is there a printing mistake? No bro, there is a solving mistake. And thus, for the benefit of CA students at large, an initiative that I took recently from last year onwards, that 1000, subjective questions ka to solutions are already there. No? So even if you are not getting the answer, you can check where you went wrong. But in MCQ, what happens is if the answer is not matching, how do you know that what is the mistake? All the problem-based MCQs, theory ka MCQs nahi, but solution-based MCQs, I have solved them on this tab itself, converted that into a PDF, all solutions of all the MCQs, and under the free courses tab of my app download kar to liya hi hoega by now for those who want to see the backup lectures. So when you go to the home page of the app, my courses, etc., you will get those options. Under that, there is one option, free courses. Under free courses, at the top, you will see a green bar. Scroll that green bar and you will find multiple courses. Inter ka lectures hai. Inter ka to full lectures I have uploaded free of cost. It is like open challenge. Watch these lectures, then learn final from anybody else. I know that is not going to happen. मैं मारवाड़ी हूँ bro. When I do something for free also, no, I know it is marketing cost. Over there, when you scroll, you will get solutions to MCQs. All your solutions will be over there, readily available. And I have solved in the same order as the book. So locating also will be very easy for you. But of course, the current solutions are for the last year ka books. Abhi, that of course all the MCQs change in assessment year, applicability of amendments, solutions will be changed. I will be solving them again and uploading fresh PDF on the basis of your law. In any case, you are not going to be solving now. Complete intercourse is free. Yes, it is. Entire course, every lecture, but currently the lectures uploaded are relevant for September 24 and Jan 25 attempt. May 25, September 25 and Jan 26 का new assessment year will be applicable same as you guys. In October my new batch will start. Those lectures will also be available free. You have anybody in Inter right now? ये पूछ रहा है who is it? जल्दी बोल रहे, टाइम नहीं है. ये भी टाइप करके he is wasting time. Friend है. अच्छा, no problem. Tell that friend to download my app and also tell that friend के भाई कुछ भी हो जाए final. See, end of the day that is more important. Okay? कि final का admission secure कर. हाँ, प्री बुकिंग 2 years in advance नहीं, not required. चल, तो is that clear everyone? Please make sure you solve more and more questions, and if you solve 2700 questions, then I hope that you are not going to make any mistake. You need to allocate more time to direct tax compared to your other subjects. When there used to be 8 papers, still students used to give 15 days per subject as self-study time. Now you have 6 papers, so you have some extra time remaining. You don't have to give same time to all subjects. You can't be giving audit the same time as direct tax or FR. See, there are some subjects which are very big in terms of size. Audit ko you give more time also, still nothing is going to happen. Too deep, bro. And see, dekho, size wise you have to allocate your time. Direct tax is big, you need more practice. Please allocate more time. In fact, IDT and DT, total tax ka supposingly you have kept 1 month. So 20 days should go to direct tax and 10 days will go to indirect tax. It is like that. When I count these days, it is like 12 hours you are studying only one subject. Yeah, exam strategies again. If someday there is time or anything or some example comes, I'll explain how studying one subject at a time is better than studying 3 subjects in one day. Strategy है वो भी, if time permits I will explain that strategy to you someday, but please give more time so that you can practice everything, because when you have less time what you end up doing is you start reading the questions and the solution. अच्छा, partnership firm NTTI basic tax, partnership firm NTTI 80 lakhs, basic tax 30% of 80 lakhs, no surcharge as income is up to 1 crore. बराबर है, right नहीं, if you were solving you would have probably gone wrong. And that you realize only when you solve by yourself. And that is the reason, it is my humble request, please solve everything. Ye clear hai? Okay. So, if net taxable total income is up to rupees 1 crore, there will be no surcharge. And if it is more than rupees 1 crore, there will be 12% surcharge till infinity, bro. And whether you cross 2 crore, 5 crore, 100 crore, 1000 crore, only one rate of surcharge, 12%. Other concepts, same. 12% of what? Basic tax. Marginal relief, supposingly income is 1 crore, 1 lakh, same marginal relief, the concept will apply. Difference in tax cannot be more than 1 lakh. Everything else is going to be same. But only changes rates. So up to 1 crore, no surcharge. More than 1 crore, 12% surcharge. Only one rate of surcharge. That way it is easy. And finally, HEC, same. Take basic, add surcharge if applicable, and on that apply 4%. That is going to be your HEC. ये clear है everyone, bro? Fantastic. That was your partnership firm, LLP and local authority का tax rate. Next, tax rates of companies. But for the purpose of levying tax, companies are going to be divided into 2 categories. Please, anybody? Indian company, foreign company? Wrong. If you have studied Indian company and foreign company, it's wrong. It is not Indian and foreign. It is domestic company and non-domestic company. Income tax law में they have not given us tax rates of Indian company, foreign company. If you have studied it that way, that's wrong. They have given us tax rates of domestic company and non-domestic company. And some are like, sir, same to same. Indian domestic, foreign non-domestic. Today, I am going to teach you the difference. Difference between Indian, foreign, obviously they are different. I am not going to teach you the difference between domestic and non-domestic. Obviously they are different. I am going to teach you the difference between Indian company and domestic company. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Indian domestic same नहीं है. Indian company and domestic company different है. Indian company, domestic company, they are different. First, let me explain the definition of non-domestic company. Must. Any company which is not a domestic company will become a non-domestic. How I wish life was so simple. वो क्या था in company law? Private company is a company which is not a public company. के public company is a company which is not a public company is a company which is not a private company. Something like that. है ना? No problem. You all don't study law. I know that you all don't study. है ना? Set A, set B, तो you have to give ना. After exam also fine. के before exam you have to give. Before exam you have to give. And last I heard few students who are this year ka students, they have already cleared their costing and law with extremely good marks. मतलब their general feedback is that it is very, very easy. I have a student who already has an exemption in costing as well as law. And I said, bro, you have to do the same thing as far as your final exam of direct tax is also concerned. So last I heard it is very, you all have started studying SPO. Easy nahi hai? Easy hai na? Very good. At least something in CA is easy. ICAI is putting the best efforts to make the course, acceptable for students, because last few years a lot of influencers have spread negativity about the CA course because people running organizations for ACCA, CPA, CMA, they have come with foreign. ACCA works in Arabic countries. वो दुबई का शेख has got crores of rupees. He has just given that as an investment. Startup funding. बोला all the influencers, educate जैसे food influencer होता ना, food bloggers and all. There are education influencers. You pay them to make videos. Don't do CA in 2024. Do the following courses. देखा है वो reel? I commented on that reel. That Didi, let us have an open debate. One-to-one. Why there was never, there is not, and there will never be a better course in commerce than CA. आपसे नहीं हुआ मतलब others also should not do. Please take this as an open challenge, Didi. Didi has not responded also. And not even blocked me. At least block me now. I wanted to write more, but then from my professional account, it is inappropriate. So Didi was fine. Actually, Didi is open challenge. She did not take. I said, your audience, you make them sit in that one-to-one discussion. And I will not bring my audience. If I bring my audience, they will throw stones at me. You bring your audience, let them decide who is making more sense, you or me. Chalo aa jao. Anybody here who feels that it's a mistake of my life that I have taken CA, come and sit with me for 15 minutes, healthy discussion, no fight, no debate. You talk about your problems, I'll talk about the solutions. 15 minutes ke andar, you will get convinced this is the best decision of your life. Okay, so ye foreign courses ka, is basically those influencers who are getting paid specifically to take you away from CA. Otherwise, institute is doing everything. They have increased the number of attempts. They have reduced articleship to 2 years. They are bringing more and more practical oriented subjects in our syllabus. They have reduced number of subjects at inter and final. And the biggest criticism was entry is easy, exit is difficult. They have actually solved that problem as well. I guarantee you that little effort you put and you are going to clear your CA, because they are filtering students at the entry level itself. Some are like, sir, हमको तो थोड़ी filter किया था. That they have started now. We are the unfiltered category. What can we do? Put more effort. Okay. So life also, let's make it that simple. Domestic company we will define, and what is non-domestic? Any company which is not a domestic company. See, ladies and gentlemen, let us understand what is the definition of domestic company, because it is not same as Indian company. Whether a company is Indian company or foreign company, no, will depend on the place of registration. An Indian company is a company which is registered in India. Under the company law of India, if your company has registered, whether it is Reliance Industries Limited or Adani Power Limited or Adani Enterprises Limited or Adani Energy Solution Limited, if it is registered under the Companies Act of India, and mind you, it can be Companies Act 1956 or 2013. ऐसा नहीं है that when 2013 का law came, तो old companies had to shut down. They continue to operate. Old company law or new company law, if you have registered under the company law of India, you will be declared as Indian company. And therefore, what is a foreign company? Simply put, foreign company is a company which is registered outside India. Foreign company is a company which is registered outside India. For example, Apple Incorporation, Google Incorporation, Meta, you know Meta. That is that company which owns WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. Bro, it owns you basically. It owns you. Everything, you know, you have a normal phone conversation with something. I plan to buy shoes here. And very next moment, forget about conversations or messages. I thought that I love Deepika ji, and then it is showing me only Deepika ji. Only when you think about something, they still know what you are thinking. You experience this? They will show you ads on the basis of what you think. And there was something wrong in the vaccine, I think. The vaccine has gone in your brain and it is, you know, telling the government what you are chipped. Tha na usme. Meta is, in fact, you know, Twitter is now known as X and owned by this guy, Tesla owner, Elon Musk. These are foreign companies. Apple, Google, Meta, registered outside India. So, Indian company or foreign company will depend on place of registration. If you are registered in India, you are Indian company. If you are registered outside India, you are foreign company. But domestic, non-domestic ka tax rates are given. People make a mistake of assuming, sir, Indian is domestic and foreign is non-domestic. Nice, sir. No. What is the definition of domestic company? Any Indian company will fall in the definition of domestic company. Once you register your company in India, are you an Indian company? You are automatically by default also a domestic company. Every Indian company is also a domestic company. But domestic company ka definition is wide. Indian company is only a subset of the definition of domestic company. Domestic company ka definition contains one more thing. Therefore, they are not safe. And this is that thing which people are not aware of. People assume that this is domestic company and therefore Indian domestic safe. It is the second point that we have to talk about. And once again, a lot of practicing CAs unfortunately are not aware of this. Did you discuss with your boss marginal relief? Bola nahi sir, he is too khadus to go and discuss these things. Chal chhod. Ask whether your boss knows domestic company. Domestic company contains all Indian companies. Supposingly you are a foreign company. So let's talk about Apple, Google, Meta. Company registered outside India. Foreign company hai? A foreign company also can become domestic, can fall in the definition of domestic if it makes arrangement for distribution of dividend out of its income taxable in India. A foreign company, if it makes arrangement for distribution of dividend in India, then for Indian income tax law purposes, the foreign company will also be declared as domestic company. Sir, क्या है ये? क्या लिखा है? What have you written? You're talking like auntie. We are not understanding anything. अच्छा ठीक है. Let me give you an example. And by the way, you know, sometimes what will happen in class, in order to explain a complicated concept, I will give you some examples and real life stories, some Bollywood ka story, some Bollywood ka song to make you understand concepts. So, law I am writing, an explanation I am speaking. You can write that example in short here. So that tomorrow when you sit for your self-study, you have that example in front of you, you are able to recollect my explanation and things become easy for you. Don't just blindly copy every word that I am writing. What I am speaking also from that, if you think there is something necessary, you can write. So let's understand what is this second point under honesty. Any student out here who, see, you have to participate. You're like, it applies to me, but why should I participate? Then it won't work. Anybody using Apple ka iPhone here? iPhone? Amir log. हाँ. Shivani, and what's your name? Omkar. Shiva, Omkar. Har Har Mahadev. Why? Why iPhone? Sir, Apple is Apple. Bluetooth file transfer. Bro, Apple is a landline phone, I'll tell you. I'll explain how. Because you have to charge the battery throughout the day. So you have to plug in your charger and sit over there. You can't use it like a mobile phone. You have to agree with this, no? See, you agree, then there is no debate. If you would have disagreed, then we would have gone further. Okay? Now don't talk, sir, it protects my data. Bro, what do you have to protect? You work for NASA? No, you work in defense sector? Kya protect kar raha hai, bro? What data you have that will get leaked? Audit report. What confidential information you have, bro? There is no conversation also. You are CA student, #forever single. There is no confidential data in your phone. Apple protects my privacy. Lol hai, bro, lol. Believe me that when we have registered our app on 3 platforms: Windows, Android, and Apple. And while using also, you'll realize that one Windows device, computer or laptop, and one mobile phone, that is Apple or Android, whatever you want, you can use the lectures that I have given in 2 devices. One laptop computer, one mobile phone. You activate only in the device in which you are going to watch till exam, because once activated, device cannot be changed. I'll be clear. And supposingly you are going from Windows to mobile, so you have to log out from your Windows device and log in. So third device is not possible, and once activated, second device also is not possible. Don't say, sir, laptop change hua, mobile change hua, all that does not work. Okay. So listen. Windows and Android mein, the app got registered in 24 hours. Play Store. And App Store mein, they did interrogation for 1 month. They are not registering only the app. Whom are you going to sell to? If this button will give what feature, that button will give. We had to actually give a full demonstration of our app. This is exactly how the app is going to work. This is how we are going to charge. This is how we are going to recover the fee. The money will go to a payment aggregator called CC Avenue. From CC Avenue, it will come to me on the next day. You do one thing, buy something from the website, you come to know the full set. Please today itself buy something. This is how the structure will work. Finally, after like police kind of interrogation, they registered the and what data they are protecting with. But then some people know you can't convince them. Apple ka fan. You to agreed, so now I don't want to buy. She's still not agreeing. Apple ka fan is same as Salman Khan fan. Modi ji ka fan. You can't argue because they don't have logic. Apple iPhone is same as Salman Khan movie. No innovation, bland fine for them. No innovation, blind fine for them. Salman Khan ka you watch Wanted, Ready, Jai Ho. You watch 10 random movies and you think that all of them are related to each other. Same story, same action, same everything. Aa gaya hai dekho bodyguard. Everything is same. Same thing is with Apple. You check Apple 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What are they changing except the cameras? No. But then you can't make crazy fans understand. No. Because your this thing has crossed a certain level. In order to show your loyalty towards Apple, now what you do, you buy 1 share of Apple Incorporation from the stock market. It may not be listed in India. You can buy from foreign stock markets. And considering the fact that you are a CA finalist, you are a CA article, maximum that you will be able to afford is one share. It's a matter of few months, then you may be able to buy more shares, make more investment. But currently, on the basis of budget, supposingly you buy only one share. Are you a shareholder of Apple? Fantastic. Apple will conduct its AGM in its country. In their AGM, they will declare a dividend like any other company in the world. And being shareholder, go for one share, but on that proportion, will you be eligible to get dividend from the company, being a shareholder? For giving you this dividend, there are two options. Option one, Apple is asking you, shareholder, okay, give me your bank details in India. What bank details? Bank of Union Bank of India. Which branch? Mulund branch. Give me your IFSC. Give me your account number. And Apple, not me. Yeah, example, I am not transferring anything. Apple will transfer your dividend in that account, Union Bank. That's one option. Second option, Apple is like pagal hai. We have no other work. You open a bank account in our country and we will credit your dividend money in that account. If they give you dividend in their country, then they are non-domestic company. But if Apple arranges for giving you the dividend in your Indian bank account, they transfer that dividend money in your Union Bank account. So Apple is a domestic company. Now you can check the definition. So Apple is a domestic company. A foreign company that makes arrangement for distribution of dividend in India out of its income taxable in India will be considered as a domestic company. Of course, you realize this today? You were not aware of this? And I want to create an atmosphere in class that every lecture, you get something. Must have. I was not aware of this before. Just last lecture marginal. This lecture definition of domestic company. So at the end of every lecture at 10 o'clock, you should be the Rahul Gandhi inside. You should be like, Maza hai. You've seen, that video, that meme video, Maza aaya. And he was like, और ये जो मजा है, मैं हिंदुस्तान के हर व्यक्ति को देना चाहता हूँ. How can a political leader say that in a public interview? मैं ये मजा हिंदुस्तान के. But bro, if he can come on a public stage and say, this morning I got up at night. He said it. You believe me. Believe me. He has said it publicly. And he has said so many things that image of his. ऐसी मशीन लगाऊंगा, यहां से आलू डालूंगा, वहां से सोना निकलेगा. You all assume that it was true and he must have said it. He didn't say that. I'll tell you what he said. He said Modi ji is fooling people. Modi ji is showing false dreams to the people. Modi ji is talking about things that are not possible. Modi ji is saying कि मैं ऐसी मशीन लगाऊंगा, इधर से आलू डालूंगा, उधर से सोना निकलेगा. But the IT cell of BJP is so clever. They deleted everything before and after. They just kept that 3 seconds का clip. ऐसी मशीन लगाऊंगा, आलू डालूंगा, सोना. And the image of Rahul ji is such that everyone assumed that he must have said it also. It's all about the image, bro. All about the image. So bro, every lecture you should activate the Rahul Gandhi inside you and say, Maza hai. And for that, every lecture I have to give you something reasonable to take home to actually make that, think, maza hai. And that maza is basically, today's maza is that any foreign company that distributes dividend in India for Indian income tax law purposes, we are going to consider it as a domestic company. Is that clear? If it is, I will speak a sentence, first half, second half, you have to speak, then only I will assume that you have understood. Therefore, every Indian company is a domestic company, but, come on, you have to complete this. Every domestic company is not an Indian company, because sometimes a foreign company, that is when it makes arrangement, at that time, the foreign company will also be considered as domestic company. You understood the difference between Indian and domestic, and tax rates are given not for Indian and foreign. Tax rates are given for. So let's talk about them one by one. Income tax, we are doing introduction ka chapter tax rates, but we need to know the assessing. And we are still in the old regime. Domestic company. Everybody is with me? Basic tax. We always start first with basic tax only, no? flat rate of 30%. Flat rate of 30%. Foreign branch registered in India. See, if they have taken registration in India under the Indian Companies Act, then they will be considered as Indian company. You understand this? If they are not operating as a registered company, means they are operating under the brand of that foreign company only, as a subsidiary office or as a branch office of that foreign company. That means in India there is no registration. Then they are nothing but a foreign company itself. So you have to see, are they registered or not registered? What are the papers saying? On the basis of that, you decide whether you consider it under Indian company or foreign company. Okay? Basic tax, flat rate of 30%. So same as firms, no basic exemption, no slabs. Every rupee will be taxable at a flat rate of 30%. I am saying this, but every time I say this, I repeat, whether I say this or I don't, if there is special rate, it will apply. So segregate, normal income, normal rate, special income, special rate. And what is the normal rate here? Flat rate of 30%. So that way we can see that partnership firm का tax rate, LLP का tax rate and domestic company का tax rate same है, but twist है story. Till here it is clear. There is a twist in the story. If your turnover in the previous year 22-23, which previous year? 22-23. By the way, we are calculating tax of which year? ये किस year का tax rates we are doing? Previous year 24-25 का tax rates here, and we have to check turnover of which year? 22-23. If that turnover is up to rupees 400 crore, so this 30% will change to 25%. If turnover of 22-23 is not exceeding, once again you have to give importance to equal to, less than 400 nahi, less than or equal to 400 crore, then it is going to be 25%. This is not an option, sir. 25 ke 30, whichever is beneficial. Nonsense. 25 is beneficial because see, same amount ke upar you apply 30 or 25, then 25 is beneficial, and the difference is also massive. 5% basic tax rate ka difference. So given a choice, you will always want to take 25, but for that there is an eligibility criteria. What is the criteria? Turnover you have to check, it should be within the limit of 400 crore. Not of the current year, not of last year, last to last year. Sir, confusion. Sir, I am not understanding the fact. (24-25) is the year for which I am calculating tax. In this year, I have to decide whether it is 30% or 25%. And of course, if eligible, I will take 25 only. For that, I have to check turnover. This is the year, but I am not checking turnover here. Of course, next year, so I can't check. But before that also, 23-24 ka turnover also I am not checking. I am checking turnover of. ये क्या nonsense है, sir? Sir, if this turnover is less than or equal to 400 crore, then I will pay tax at 25%. And if this turnover is greater than 400 crore, then I will pay tax at. Sir, ये क्या nonsense? Means for this year ka tax rate, I have to check this year ka turnover. You understand the question here? And now I have one simple option. Law ma like puche. For every question, there is one answer. It is written in the law. But it does not work that way. Sir, why? So you know, advance mein maja aaya. Why? Sir, why don't we check the turnover of the current year? We don't check last year. We check 2 years ago ka turnover. Well, this year ka income tax rate will depend on 2 years ago ka turnover. Sir, why? Sir, understand. If the criteria was this year's turnover, so what will happen? I'll tell you. We live in a country called India. Here, no one wants to know the law. Everyone wants to know, sir, ऐसे किया तो, then I will be able to save money. No? Sir, ऐसे idea. I'll tell you the idea. 24-25 started. अभी starting में तो turnover is below the limit. So tax rate 25%. If we keep the same year as the criteria. 100 crore, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 380, 390 crore. Tax rate 25%. The moment I am near my 400 ka mark, wait. What's your name? Darsh. And surname? Parmar. My current company's name was Darsh Limited. And now I start a new company, Darsh P Limited. P for private, nahi, Parmar. Every time I am about to cross 400 crore, I will incorporate a new company. The cost of incorporating a new company will be recovered in that 5% savings. It's a one-time cost. Hashtag thug life. Na. Are you understood or no? Why current year turnover cannot be the factor? Otherwise, people will start incorporating new companies. Understood the logic? Sir, ठीक है, then keep last year. Nice, sir. We can't keep last year also. I'll explain now. Okay? देखो, 23-24 का budget came here. So in this budget, 1st February को budget came. In this budget, we know what is the rule for 23-24. Correct? Now, ordinarily for 24-25 also the budget should have come here only, no? ये तो देखो, election year is an exceptional year where budget has come in July. Okay? ये exception का you can't discuss. Income tax law is not made for an exceptional year once in 5 years. So therefore, we have to talk about the general. Generally, 1st February year will give you the rules for this year. Correct? Now, on 1st February, government will announce that what is going to be the tax rate of this financial year. Which year are we talking about right now? 24-25. Ordinarily, the budget will be announced on the 1st of February year itself. So on 1st February, we know that for this year, the turnover criteria is what? Supposingly, we keep 23-24 as the turnover criteria. I still have 2 months in my hand. You understand? February and March. Supposingly, on this 1st February, they say that the turnover has to be within 400 crores. My company has already crossed turnover of 450 crores in 23-24, the ongoing year. I will do some sales return, incorporate new companies and create new bills. I have 2 months time for doing manipulation. See, if 24-25 was the criteria, then so I can, before doing the sales itself, I can incorporate new companies. If last year was the criteria and I know it when the budget is announced, immediately I will start cancelling the bills. I have 2 months time to do all the manipulations. But therefore, they have kept this year as the criteria. Because what is going to happen is, this year will get over here. Do you agree? Iska audit will get over somewhere over here. Accounts will be published, submitted to the government departments, all the departments, income tax department, ROC, everywhere. And after that, somewhere later during the year, this budget will come. That will give us the criteria for this financial year. Once I am here and the accounts are already submitted to the government, I cannot change or manipulate the turnover of 22-23. In one line, if I have to tell you what is the logic behind checking turnover 2 years ago, current year turnover can be manipulated. Do you understand? Incorporate a new company. Last year's turnover also can be manipulated. Election year ka don't discuss. Once in 5 years that takes place. Otherwise, last year ka turnover can be manipulated because when the budget comes, we still have 2 months outstanding in that last year. But last year ka turnover cannot be manipulated. The accounts are already published and submitted to the government. And therefore, we will keep the criteria 2 years ago. And of course, that turnover criteria is announced in every budget. It is not that it is always 400. When Modi ji started, if you want to know the history, only someone who has decade plus teaching experience will be able to discuss all this with you. Okay? So your friends in the neighboring buildings will never come to know this. They will never come to know. Because single digit make, immense respect for the teacher. The teacher is new, so will not be knowing everything. I am old. I don't look, but then I have maintained myself. 2014 में when Modi government came, at that time Modi ji said that soon we will, Jetli ji was speaking on behalf of Modi ji, we will reduce corporate tax rate from 30 to 25. He made the announcement, but he did not reduce in that first year, 14-15. 15-16 also no announcement. Then suddenly in 2016 ka budget, Jetli ji says, hello, do you remember 2 years ago I promised something? Kya sir? I will reduce your tax rate from 30 to 25. So right now we are in 16-17. Check turnover of 14-15. Because this year you will manipulate. Last year you will manipulate. You have 2 months. But last year you cannot. So for 16-17, he told you to check turnover of 14-15, 30 or 25%. At that time, he kept turnover limit of 5 crores. 14-15 may if it is 5 crores or less, so 25%. And if it is more than 5 crores, so 30%. Then came 17-18. He now says check turnover of 15-16. He changed it to 25 crores. Then came 18-19. Check turnover of 16-17. I think he did 50 crores. 19-20. He said check turnover of 17-18. He brought it to 250 crores, I think. 3-4 limits he had kept. And finally, in the last 4-5 years, they have increased this turnover limit to such a big amount that now they are not changing it. Almost every budget you see, they are keeping 400 crores. But every budget is a carry forward. So that way, if you see, between last year and the current year, there is no amendment in the corporate tax rate. In fact, in the new regime also, there is no amendment. But still, if you ask me, this is still an amendment. Because last year, students had to give exam of PY 23-24 and check turnover of PY 21-22. Now, we are giving exam of PY 24-25. So, we will check turnover of 22-23. Coincidentally, they have not changed that 400 crore, but that they can at any point of time. And that you come to know once the budget is announced. So, if last year is the threshold or criteria, then we have still 2 months to change or manipulate. So, therefore, they have kept the criteria for last year. Is that clear, everyone? So, every time I ask you, what is tax rate of domestic company? Your first answer will always be, 30%. Then if 2 years ago, the turnover was up to 400 crores, then the criteria will be 25%. 2 years ago. Now, huge number of questions on this. There are penalties ka question. Penalty is on the amount of tax evaded. So, question is telling you calculate penalty. For that, you have to calculate tax. Believe me, in the MCQ, they have given turnover of the last 5 years, including the current year. Ab current year ka it is 450 crores. But 2 years ago ka it is 390 crore or something. So 450 ko dekh ke you don't apply 30. You have to apply 25. Then you have to apply the surcharge because income is crossing 1 crore. Then says, if your tax calculation is wrong, bro, khatam. Your penalty can't be correct. And we have all those MCQs in our book. All those MCQs. In fact, when I lay down the mock test paper, you are going to have tears, I am telling you, while solving that mock paper. If you pass in the mock test paper that I conduct, your exemption is secure. Upper side, there is no limit. No limit. Between 60 and 100, you can go to any number. But just pass in my paper first. Until the time you don't secure reasonable marks, you should keep giving marks. Okay, that's, a later point of time ka discussion. Currently, you have to be very, very careful. You will check turnover of 2 years ago. Is that clear? Now, one big question arises, and somebody has asked also in the chat box, sir, what if my company is just incorporated? That means in this year, the company did not exist only. When the company did not exist, so what if I ask you the turnover of this year? What can be the turnover of a year in which you were not there? Wow, smart, very smart. 0. And check on your calculator, 0 is less than 400 crores. I check kar. Bad joke. Sun. So, logically speaking, what should be the answer? Hello? Audio problem hai? Nahi hai. Anil ji, there is no audio problem. Shayad aapka headphone is not working maybe. These days, you are having lot of issues with your headphone. Maybe you should replace it. That also I am speaking is not able to hear. Hello, clear है ना? Everyone else, you can clearly hear. See, 2 years ago, if you did not exist, so obviously your answer should be 25%. मतलब turnover is 0, so tax rate should be 25%. 0 can't be tax rate. Turnover is 0, so tax rate should be 25. I understood what you were trying to say. But the law is silent on this. मतलब they have not clarified anything. They just said 2 years ago का turnover check. Okay. Now, this is a place where the law is silent. So we have to go by what the ITR utility is doing. See, when you talk about the special rates, it is clearly written in the law, no rebate against 112A. And only that place. That means other places they have not written anything. But here, they have not written anything at all. So, it is observed while filing returns. And that also I don't give importance. The practical nature of taxation, no? I don't give it, I discuss with people for your understanding. But for exam purposes, I don't give too much importance to ITR filing and all that. The fact of the matter is that in suggested answers, Institute is doing this. In suggested answers. And therefore, we have to go by what Institute is doing in the suggested answer. So, this answer is not because the ITR utility is doing it, because ITR utility is doing something horrible as far as your rebate is concerned. Institute is doing this in the suggested answer. Very surprising for me also. Somewhere I do not agree with this, but then I am not conducting the exam. ICAI is, and therefore we have to follow what ICAI is doing. If it's a new company, they are charging, can you believe this? 30%. Means Institute hereby is clarifying to you. Time please. Sun le. 2 years ago, your company existed and fulfilled the turnover criteria, then you get that 5% discount. Did not exist, no discount. Existed but did not fulfill turnover condition, no discount. समझा क्या? So I hope the doubt is clear. Is that clear? Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, see, after all the things that we discussed, are we clear about meaning of domestic company, how it is different from Indian company? And apart from that, are you also clear that every time I ask you what is income tax rate of domestic company, your first answer should always be 30%. If you existed 2 years ago and turnover was up to 400 crores, then it will be 25%. Is that clear? For new companies, they in suggested answers are doing 30. Fantastic. After basic tax, rebate, let's not waste your time and my time, very precious. So yes, rebate is inapplicable. Everyone clear about this? Surcharge. It will depend obviously on your net taxable total income. If your net taxable total income is up to rupees 1 crore, no surcharge. Entity up to 1 crore, no surcharge. Entity more than 1 crore. Chal fatafat. Individuals. Done. Individuals 15. Firms 12%. Domestic company 7%. Surcharge. There is no explanation. I just have to tell you which SSC, how much surcharge at what income level. But surcharge is one area while solving questions, brightest students go wrong because of lack of enough practice. Brightest students go wrong. Just more and more practice. At the end of this chapter, when we will complete all the assessees ka tax rates in old and new regime, I will give you a small task, an activity. Okay, वैसे भी life is very boring, no? At CA final, so let us recollect our GMCS days. That was the only time you enjoyed. GMCS for CA students is like shadi.com. If something happens there, it happens. Otherwise, it is not going to happen. So we'll do some activities at the end of the chapter. I know you're looking forward to it. After 1 crore, surcharge will go to 7, but only up to income of 10 crore. If domestic company ka entity exceeds 10 crore, it will join partnership forms 12%. So after 1 crore, individual 15, firm 12, domestic company 7. After 2 crore, individual will change to 25, others will remain same. After 5 crore, individual will change to 37, but others will remain same. After 10 crore, individual will still remain at 37, firms will still remain at 12, but domestic company will move from 7 to 12. So do you understand how confusing it is when you actually come down to solving of questions? So that activity is not actually going to be a homework that I will force you to do. It will be my request. And history goes like this. Out of 35-40,000 students, single digit students have done this after my request, and all of them have scored exemption. Whoever did that scored an exemption. You do it or no, choice is yours, but I'll tell you at the end of the chapter. Okay, so is that clear? After 1 crore, 7%, after 10 crore, 12%. And as far as your HEC is concerned, it is always going to remain same. Same matlab 4% always. Ye clear hai, everyone? I want to know from you now, what will I do next? बोला जो करना है कर ब्रो, तेरा मर्जी, योर क्लास योर विश. I'll do whatever you tell. ऐसा नहीं कि नाच के दिखा. In the law, I'll do whatever you tell me. हाँ. देखो, all throughout you should be aware what we have completed, where we are going. So 4A is done. Now we go to what? 1 AC you will not. ये first वाला तो बंद नहीं किया ना. This AC please you keep on. Others you do whatever you want to. Okay, and you know all these things are irrelevant. Matlab you get up, you do whatever you want to. You don't ask me for these things except the first AC. You will not touch that, please. I am talking continuously. My body generates heat. I know that even in an AC room I am sweating. ये पहला वाला चालू कर. And this is the last thing that you know should distract you guys. Come on, there are so many distractions in life already. Sorry, matlab don't take it in the wrong sense. Please don't keep all this in your mind. Chalu hai na? Okay. Second, non-domestic company. Now let us understand first of all what is a non-domestic company. A foreign company that does not make arrangement for distribution of dividend in India. Correct hai? We start with basic tax, which is going to be a flat rate, no basic exemption, no slabs. Obviously, what do you have in your mind? 40%. Every time I write this, lal blood ka color, that means there is an amendment, and every amendment May 25. November students in January. So many people raised hand for November, but somehow I recollect only your face. November students are a special pain in life. I am telling you that the moment batch is over, sir, हमारा amendment कब होएगा? तो what is this? If you had separate amendments, I wouldn't have made you sit here. Same है. रो क्यों रहा है? Same है. November है. Same amendment. Non-domestic companies का 40% tax rate is now reduced from this year to 35%. And at CA final, company taxation is far more important compared to individual. You know, intermediate students do individual HUF taxation. And in company, now non-domestic matlab international tax. Understand, corporate taxation merged with international tax. Extremely high probability of this being asked in your exam. Do you understand this? And an amendment. The amendment word for a CA student is as exciting as Sunny Leon, no bro. The moment you get excited, the moment you hear that word, wow, amendment. And the next question is, sir, humko lagega kya? So yes, it is applicable amendment for you guys. and be prepared to be tested on this. And that is why we were waiting for the budget to get president. Just imagine we learning the existing law of 40% because we wanted to start the batch early. Bolna those friends of yours. Where is the building? Is it nearby somewhere? There is one building here also, one building there also. Too many people, bro. More coaching classes than students these days in CA. Seriously, number of faculties have exceeded the number of students. CA में वैसा ही है bro. हाँ, तो they must have studied maybe 40% because they have started very early. They will finish very early, then learn amendments. We are directly learning amendments. By now, you should have completed FR, FM, audit, so that you learn with amendments the taxation law. Can do whatever you want. When in any case, you are not going to listen to what I am going to tell you. So do whatever you want to. But yes, it is an amendment. The basic tax rate for foreign companies, non-domestic companies will now be 35%. Sir, still very high? So obviously it has to be high, no? You come from outside our country. You come and make money in our country. You take the money and go away. Bro, you have to pay this land its appropriate share. Otherwise, don't come only. Atiti Devo Bhava sounds good in Sanskrit. No, you are not our Atiti. You have come here to make money. Pay our share and get lost. And that was also, believe me, first time I studied tax. That must be somewhere about 18 years ago. First time I studied tax. Last 14 years I am teaching. 4 years to jata hai na inter final together. First time I have seen this change. First time. It was 40% since the time I have studied tax 40%. Matlab one day when auntie will go away, we hope soon, believe me, she is going to leave this mark in the entire income tax law that almost everything you'll be like any student who has studied tax from me 5 years ago. Well, tere bhai ko jaake puch. And compare, if he still has my books, compare his book. It is a completely different income tax law, I am telling you. If a student has studied tax 5 years ago and not studied tax since, maybe working in audit or finance or any other department, you have to sit down to learn the full tax law fresh. Almost everything. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, first time in 2020, so that was still about 14 years. First time in 2020, in 14 years of my experience in tax as a student and teacher, last 4 years add ho gaya. 2020, I saw an amendment in residential status, which you must have studied as intermediate students. It was a part of, it was 2020 के अंदर. वो 15 lakh का income criteria, if you remember, there used to be 182 days and 63, 65. They brought 120 days also. That was first time an amendment brought by it. 2020 mein world was fighting COVID, auntie was bringing amendments. So yes, first time in 18 years, 4 as a student and 14 as a teacher, उसमें 1 year common है थोड़ा सा, because 1 year I was student and teacher both. I have seen an amendment in foreign companies का tax rate. 40% is now 35%, an applicable amendment for your exam, and mentally be ready. You know, amendments are there in almost every chapter. Capital gains ka amendment, that is important because directly your answers will change. But then there will always be some amendments which are important for practical implementation of. Government is not making income tax law for CA exams. Please understand, government is making income tax law for the day-to-day recovery of taxes. So there are some amendments which will have massive practical impact but zero exam importance. Absolutely irrelevant. I'll tell you amendment but forget it. But then there are some amendments which will have direct impact in your exam. And this is one such case. Take it very, very seriously. Non-domestic company ka tax rate now is, I have got a high feeling that this is going to be tested in the very first attempt now itself. So May 25 as well as November 25. November people will get that extra advantage to check the May 25 ka paper. So if it is not asked in May, tab to confirm hai November. Okay. Now, May wala students don't change their attempt because of this. Ke check karte what they are asking. Basic tax flat 35. Is that clear? After basic. अच्छा एक मिनट, ये करेक्ट है? Hello. Chalo. Next, rebate, not applicable. But after rebate, surcharge. One thing we have understood till now, kya sir? That companies and firms will have surcharge only after crossing 1 crore. If your net taxable total income exceeds 1 crore but is up to 10 crore. हाँ जल्दी बोलो. Individuals in this range will have 15, 25, 37. What about partnership firms in this range? This range, partnership firms, 12%. In fact, after 1 crore till infinity. What about domestic companies?
7%.
But for non-domestic, we have 2%. And after 10 crore, firms still at 12, individuals still at 37. Domestic companies join firms from 7% to non-domestic company 5%. So for domestic companies we have 0, 7, 12. For non-domestic we have 0, 2 and 5. 0, 7, 12, 0, 2, 5. Is that understood? Anybody feeling this case, sir, ये तो बहुत कम है ना surcharge? Too less, isn't it? नहीं तो एक काम करो, you levy 40% basic tax, तो you're levying only. Then levy 40% surcharge on income, not tax. Income pay 40% basic, 40% surcharge, and levy 20% cess. On income, on income. And then to these foreign companies, you know, you give Bhagavad Gita का ज्ञान. तुम क्या लेकर आए थे, क्या लेकर जाओगे, जो मिला यहीं से मिला, जो छूट, भगवद गीता में इट इज सेड. तुम्हारा क्या था जो चला गया. श्री कृष्ण भगवद गीता का ज्ञान दो. And I say this again, don't be offended, but Shri Krishna or Bhagavad Gita, to be very honest, does not belong to any religion. It is only about the teachings, the learnings. You adopt those learnings, and it makes you a better person. It makes you good performer in your professional career. You just have to implement the teachings. Focus on your work. Sir, institute ऐसा करेगा क्या? Institute वैसा करेगा क्या? What is not in your control is not in your control. Arjun, he used to say, Parth, तुम्हारा काम है युद्ध करना, तुम युद्ध करो. And the result of that युद्ध is also not in your control. So stop thinking about that. What is in your control? Come to class on time. Learn what is being taught. Follow the instructions being given. Solve the additional question bank. Practice the mock test. And still the result is not in your control. But you are doing everything to bring it in. समझा क्या? ठीक है. तो give that ज्ञान to non-domestic companies and बोला whatever you earn here, you leave here and leave. नहीं? Bro, the basic tax is already too high, and therefore we cannot be what, bro? Levying excessively high surcharge. So 2% and 5%. Is that clear? And finally we have HEC, which is going to remain same 4% always. Is that clear, everyone? Chaliye, fantastic. That way, if you see the 7 people that fall in the definition of person: individual, HUF, company, firm, AOP, BOI, local authority, artificial juridical person, all are open. But surprisingly, when there is an organization called cooperative society, actually, what is a cooperative society? A group of people who have come together for a common purpose or goal. Please listen to me carefully. When a cooperative society applies for PAN card also, it applies as AOP only. But after registering as an AOP, it takes registration under the Societies Act. So whether it is your housing society or any credit society, any kind of cooperative society, members cooperative society. Members contribute fund, create the corpus, and with that fund they use for the benefit of members only. It is an AOP, but societies ka registration, income tax recognizes as a separate. So what the income tax law does is, association of persons will be divided into 2 categories. The tax rate that we have studied here, this is where we started today. Here they say AOP BOI excluding cooperative society. Means an AOP BOI which is a cooperative society will fall in what I am going to now do. And an AOP BOI which is not a cooperative society, not registered under the Societies Act, like Lions Club, like Rotary Club, they don't take Societies Act. That will get covered here, governed by what we have studied, individual wala slabs. If you register AOP and then later you register it as a cooperative society also, then you will fall in the last category, category 5. Matlab, all we are doing is, you remember we divided individual into 3 categories, 1A, 1B, 1C. We divided company into 2 categories, 4A, 4B. AOPs will be divided into 2 categories, AOP being cooperative society, AOP being other than cooperative society. So other than cooperative society will merge with HUF and AJP, cooperative society. Shall I scroll back? You understood where we have written excluding cooperative society? Cooperative society. Tax rates are different. Simple slabs hai, but yes, they have slabs. Cooperative society, for the first 10,000 rupees ka income, will be paying 10% tax. So that way there is no basic exemption. On first 10,000 also there is 1,000 rupees tax. 1,000 kaise hai samajh? How? 10,000 ka 10%. 1,000. Understood this? From 10,000 to 20,000, we have 20% tax. So can I say in this bracket there will be 2,000 rupees? 10,000 ka 20%. Or can I simply conclude that first 20,000 you will have 3,000 rupees tax? Like we did 1,12,000. Because after 20,000 till infinity, they have 30% tax. So it is like NTTI minus 20,000 into 30% plus 3,000. समझा क्या? Simple maths, simple arithmetic. First 20,000 they have 3,000, remaining they have 30%. But of course these are इधर ही आएगा ना bro. See, whenever we write slab, that way the same thing is applicable for 2.5 to 5 लिखा. First rupee after 10,000 will go in the next bracket. Understood? But of course, if there is any income taxable at special rate, it will continue to apply, whether casual winnings, capital gains, anything like that. We have a full chapter, chapter 12, 110 to 115 BBG, special rates of tax. So very simple slabs. And after basic tax, what do we have? Not applicable, obviously. Q, sir? Only for individuals. Surcharge. If your net taxable total income is up to rupees 1 crore, no surcharge. Between 1 crore and 10 crore, you will have 7% surcharge. And after 10 crore, you will have 12% surcharge. Does this appear familiar? Dekhela. Same as domestic company. Surcharge for cooperative societies will be same as domestic companies. Is that understood? And HEC? Same. Everyone clear? That, ladies and gentlemen, finally completes our old regime of taxation. All the assessees ka tax rates done. Until a few years ago, at this stage also we could move to the new. In fact, companies ka and firms ka, all these tax rates I never covered in this chapter with CF and because we have special chapter for company. We have a chapter called MAT, minimum alternate tax. For partnership firms, we have a chapter, assessment of firms and LLPs. It is 11th chapter. So you have 16 chapters, you can check that. 11th chapter is special chapter for firms. So we used to cover those tax rates in those chapters. But abhi kya? I have to discuss new regime. New regime is applicable for all assessees. So I have to first complete old regime of all assessees. The structure of the class has changed, that the introduction chapter which was supposed to get over in the second lecture is now getting over in the fifth lecture. But the only good thing here is that if we are doing all the company ka tax rates here, ya firms ka tax rates here, then later again in your syllabus, I don't have to do that. Normally, you will not see me losing my cool with students. I will never do. You know, no matter how many problems in my life I have or how much tension I have, every moment there is something or the other. I am a married man, if you understand. So you know how much tension I have. But once I enter a classroom and I start talking to students, no, I behave like nothing. Everything is gone in my life. Only thing that I have is my classroom. So you'll never see me lose my cool or get angry. With students, you will never see. Never. And that is irrespective of how you behave personally with me. Professionally, if you are indisciplined, that will not be tolerated. Personally, you speak anything about me, I don't care. It does not affect me at all. Indiscipline, I will not tolerate. And my indiscipline definition includes, if today I have covered with you tax rates of companies and firms, maybe after a month or so, because we are going to have a gap between next week and 15th of September, we have a good about 7-8 days ka gap. So at least 1 month we will take to reach the chapter partnership forms. Partnership is 11th chapter, MAT is 15th chapter, charitable trust is 12th. It is very big. About a little over a month from now, we will be doing the chapter minimum alternate tax for companies. On that day, if I ask you tax rates of partnership firms, tax rates of companies, and you don't answer, then you will see the bad side of me. We are followers of the Almighty Shiva. He has an extremely good side. But then that day when he loses his cool, ये तो संसार खत्म है. You know this, no? Of course. He is the creator of everything. But I will destroy you, at least, if you do not answer questions on things that I have covered in class and completed in class, whether it is 1 month from today or 2 months from today. That is irrelevant. Because the only reason people don't score marks in direct tax is that this limited space in their brain, as new data enters, no sir, jaga shortage. Your memory is almost full. Delete some apps to go further. So you start deleting data because you have limited storage. So when a new thing is being entered and the old thing is already deleted, you will not be able to link them, and that will be the beginning of your end as far as this subject is concerned. So don't ask me this after the syllabus gets over. Sir, how should I study the subject? You should revise the subject in such a way that you are at par with whatever I have taught you. Every day you go home, after 10 days or 15 days or 1 month, if I ask you something, you should be able to answer. Revise and do it. Without revision, you do it. You are very talented. Whatever you want to do, you do, but you have to answer questions. So when I do companies ka chapter, when I do firms ka chapter, you will have to answer these questions. Is that clear? Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is now going to take us to the concept of new taxation regime. All the assessees except partnership firms, of course, which I already told you, now have got an optional tax regime called new taxation regime. The background of this was, auntie is coming and saying in the budget that industry, taxpayers, they are pressurizing me to reduce तो थोड़ा और आ जाए. They are pressurizing me to reduce tax rates, but at the same time you are availing so many exemptions and deductions in the law. You can't be taking exemption. Actually, tell me one thing, what does an exemption or deduction do to your income? It reduces your entity, and on that reduced NTTI you further want me to reduce the tax rates. It's unfair. I am ready to reduce your tax rate provided you are willing to forego the exemptions and deductions. And on this principle, I propose a new taxation regime. Somewhere in 2019, when she was still new, 2019 was also a tension wala year. Election year is always a pain. First, there was interim budget by outgoing government. In that also, Jaitley ji was unwell. So that task was given to CA Piyush Goyal sir. Temporary finance minister he was made. So one budget. Amendments were covered in that budget also. Then auntie became finance minister. And it was like a matter of pride. Wow, first time a full-time lady finance minister. Indira ji once upon a time was finance minister, but like an additional portfolio along with being prime minister. There was no full-time female finance minister prior to auntie. It was like a matter of pride, yes, women empowerment. Today when we think over it के ये नहीं चाहिए था bro, नहीं इतना proud नहीं feel करता. तो 5th July she brought her budget. अभी people are already just like you guys impatient. They're like कि sir batch कब होगा. That was the 2020 वाला batch. So finally, once the budget was out, the notes were prepared. I had taught a few chapters already, and then suddenly, somewhere in September 2019, auntie came up with something called an ordinance. This was like a hint given by her what I am going to do over the next 5 years. That I will bring amendments whenever I want. She brought an ordinance and changed corporate tax rates by bringing new regime only for companies. 2 sections were introduced in income tax law, 115BAA, 115BAB. For companies, 2 sections were incorporated. 2019, only 2 sections. And I had completed minimum alternate tax in one of the batches of CFA. I had to first change the full chapter in the notes, reprint the notes, give the new printouts of that one chapter, of course, to the students, and teach that chapter again. And it is that bad experience because I can't be saying that mera chapter ho gaya, now amendments you learn on your own. I can't give up my responsibility like that. I had to teach the chapter again. And since that day, I am very careful. Get to hell with it. 15 days late chalu karunga, but incorporating all the amendments. And in that process, if there are few admissions gone, so let them go. Because I had to teach a very big chapter, minimum alternate tax again. Painful, but what do? I had to do it. That way, so now knowing her history over the last few years, even now that the budget is out, passed, we are learning everything, she can do anything. Tomorrow she can again change. Bola, nahi fata hai. Good juice, didn't get that? Zamnar nahi ho. Is that understood? So, she can do anything, bro. She is auntie. When 2019 she brought these 2 sections, like a trial thing, she was like, "Ha, ho raha hai. Things are working." Then in the 2020 ka budget, which was that way, if you see, what was the need to bring an ordinance in September? She could have waited in the next 3-4 months. The budget was due, election year mein to. In any case, now see, this year also 23rd July ko budget has come. Matter of few months, and there will be a new budget. And now she is saying that I will bring new income tax act. Well, then we will both take admissions somewhere. All of us together will take admission and tell someone to teach us that. That day you can, as students we go somewhere together. आया कैसा रे बैठना इधर साथ में बैठना वैसे भी तेरे को टैक्स थोड़ा हमसे ज्यादा पता है तो I'll be very useful for you. Actually, by the way, if you and me go together somewhere, I strongly believe that people will never find out who is teacher, who is student. So this much confidence I have on myself also. बैठना बिडू कैसा है चलना साथ में पढ़ेंगे चलना. You can try all those stunts, but by the way, I must tell you that if the new income tax law comes again, you will have to come running to me only. वो था ना ए सर्किट नहीं what was that guy वो सेकंड आता था इन मुन्ना भाई MBBS स्वामी तू पढ़ के मेरे को सिखा देना. You remember that scene? हाँ चना you learn and teach me. We'll have to do something like that only. So we'll wait and watch if there is a new income tax law. But for now, in 2020 budget, when auntie was convinced about the good things of the new taxation regime, she introduced this section 115 BSc, the most talked about section outside this classroom. Keep your horses under control, bro. Shanti rakho. Sir, whatever we are able to finish today, we will finish today. Don't be overexcited. Sir, ये rebate का इसमें कैसे? Some तो did not wait for the new regime also. Even before I started new regime, sir, new regime में rebate कैसा है? Old regime I have taught first finish that properly, no. Now when I will do new regime, I will teach you new regime का rebate, surcharge, everything. But yes, there is a section 115 BSc, the most discussed section outside this classroom. So let those Google knowledge ka people discuss their grapevine the way they want. we will learn what is written in the law 115 BSc with the amendments, because once again, huge number of amendments have taken place. And last year also there were too many amendments. But they have become old. Now this year again the rates have changed, again the slabs have changed. We'll discuss everything. And with BSc, in that 2020 ka budget, Auntie introduced also one more section, BAD, for cooperative societies. So effectively there were 4 sections, 2 for companies, 1 for individual HUF, and 1 for cooperative societies. Now first instance mein student is asking, sir, why 2 sections for companies? Ultimately companies, so 1 section you give now. So I'll tell you what is the logic behind it. India's most underperforming sector is the manufacturing sector. You have to understand the macroeconomic part. There is a trading sector which is stagnant traditionally. We traders, so buy and sell. Not much growth, but not much decline as well. The sector that has performed the best is the service sector. So especially over the last couple of decades, the biggest underperformers have been our manufacturers. So we are excessively dependent on imports because we don't have good quality local products. If a domestic product in terms of quality and price can match an imported product, I will probably not buy an imported product. But our domestic manufacturing is not up to the mark. Problem bhi hai, our labor is very expensive. See, little costing you need. I know you all don't study costing, but little you must have studied. Direct material, direct labor, direct expense, prime cost, add factory overheads, factory cost, adjust WIP stock, you get cost of production, adjust your admin overheads and finished good stock, you get cost of goods sold, selling and distribution overheads, so cost of sales, total cost, and add profit, you get sales. Cost sheet. I hope you are not thinking how I know this. CA, bro. Come on. CA. We know everything from the idea of the business to the execution. तो time नहीं है. If I decide to go and teach financial management, or if I decide to go and teach, I have taught everything in life. I have taught accounts, costing, FM, DT, IDT, audit at inter and final. Law I have not taught. And as far as EIS and ICAI is concerned, even if my ancestors returned to the planet, is computers EIS? Not possible. Otherwise, the cost sheet. Sigana, at least at intermediate costing. Direct labor in India is very expensive and China has cheap labor. So many a time what happens, manufacturing in India is more expensive than importing from China. Which is why the product is expensive. For example, take this mic system. This is a company called Ahuja. This is the best company as far as sound systems are concerned. But if this mic will come for 20,000 rupees, its Chinese substitute will come for 5,000, 2,000. If you can bargain, come to Lavington Road, South Bombay. Come someday if you are free, आओ कभी available. So obviously, what will I think as a buyer? यार ठीक है, Ahuja का mic का life is 10 years, 15 years, nothing will happen. Chinese mic may not survive for a year. No problem, I will buy new next year. We are not able to compete with China. 2 minutes silence for those who think, sir, India should ban imports from China. China supports Pakistan. Ka no aukat, if that way you understand. Come on, if Modi ji or Mota bhai want, you don't have to attack Pakistan. You can buy fight with someone whom you can buy. And forget Modi ji or Mota bhai, Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai, the richest municipal body in the world, has more money than the entire economy of Pakistan. If Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai decides they can purchase Pakistan by evening, Suryast ke pehle, believe me. But then why does Pakistan act powerful in front of India? Because of Chinese support. And that is why India finds a friend in Russia who can together help. Russia has always been India ka friend. Russia ke support se India is not scared of US also. World War III ka picture is clearly visible. India, Ukraine ke side pe US, China, Pakistan will go. So India will always be with Russia. We Indians like Russians in India. Too deep, bro. Sorry. So point that we wanted to encourage our manufacturers. So we created two sections. One section for all other companies and a special section only for manufacturing. So there is difference. वैसे both sections are for companies, but BAB is for manufacturing companies. And between these two also there is 8% difference in tax. 8% difference means manufacturers ko we are giving excessive incentive so that we are able to reduce our dependence on Chinese imports. We can't ban Chinese imports. India will shut down, Guru. Go home, take a 360-degree parikrama of your home and you'll come to know everything is China. TV China, AC China, fridge China, washing machine China, mobile phone China, all these smart Apple users. Sorry, Apple is Apple. Turn your phone upside down and check. Designed by Apple in California and assembled in China. If not the final product, the spare parts are manufactured in China. China celebrates Indian festivals more than India. Because if we have Diwali, lights come from China. If we have Holi, color comes from China. If we have Makar Sankranti, the kites come from China. If we have Raksha Bandhan, the Rakhi comes from China. If we have Ganesh Utsav, the Ganpati ka idol, the Murti comes from China. If not, the Murti does not come, so the material that is used will come from China. We encourage. At my house, we always have eco-friendly. Shadu Mati, they call it. But then POP idols, make the workshops ke andar, lot of spare parts come from China. So which is why I say they celebrate our festivals more than us. And when every shopkeeper is like, no, Chinese products are danger for the economy, danger for the country. Every shopkeeper has put a sticker, a board outside his shop. Boycott Chinese products, boycott Chinese. You know where the sticker comes from? Samjha? IYKYK. We can't ban. We can only encourage our manufacturers. So we are encouraging them by giving a reduction of 8%. We'll discuss that. Of course, this is the different assessee altogether. Individual HUF. Last year an amendment took place. So that I will not write in red. I will write in red only current year amendments. Last year they covered AOP, BOI, artificial juridical person, everyone. AOP, BOI obviously excluding cooperative society, because for cooperative society we already have another section. In old regime also they are different. And then last year one more thing happened. This is also last year coming. Cooperative societies that are doing manufacturing business have given a representation to the government. Sir, in companies, you are keeping a difference between manufacturers and non-manufacturers. As manufacturing cooperative societies, we are not getting any incentives. Sir, please give us something. So government introduced a new section, 115B. BAE. For manufacturing cooperative societies. Now, did I tell you the difference between this section and this section? Manufacturing companies and all other companies? Same difference here. Manufacturing cooperative society, all other cooperative societies. And same tax rate ka difference. The difference here 8% is also the difference here 8%. In fact, I'll tell you one thing. So no, these two sections, look like similar because both of them are for companies. And these two sections appear similar because they are for cooperative societies. But the reality is, this section is exactly same as this section. All conditions, even the rate of tax. And this section is exactly same as this section. All conditions and the rate of tax. The only difference between these two or these two is the assessee. Here it is company, here it is society. If you remove that difference, there is more similarity in these two than these two. The only thing that is same between these two companies or these two assessees or these two assessees, the only thing that is same is the assessee. Everything else is different. You have to draw a line. I repeat, if you have not understood, here and here there is more similarity. Here and here there is more similarity. Did you understand? So when we learn conditions here, we have automatically completed all the conditions here. I just have to tell 115BAE is same as BAB, except that is for cooperative society. All conditions same. Same thing, here and here. You understood? They look similar, but they are similar. They look similar, but they are similar. You understood? So effectively, we have got 5 sections under the new taxation regime. 115. Ba, ba, bas, bad, be. Be. 5 sections. Ba, ba, bas, bad, be. 5 sections. These first 2 sections are for domestic companies, of course. Between these two, orally I have told you the difference, but we will do everything in writing. Don't worry. Everything that I am explaining, no, the theory will come in writing also. These 2 sections are for resident cooperative society. ये correct है? And this middle wala section. When it was introduced, it was for individual HUF, but with the amendment that took place last year, I told you orally about it. We now also cover AOP BOI, obviously excluding cooperative society, and we will also cover AJP here. ये clear है? And now if you remember, I told you something in the old taxation regime about partnership forms. Same for both. There is no new regime. Because only these many assessees have new regime. Everyone is now covered except partnership. Partnership firms surprisingly don't have any. ठीक है, नहीं है तो नहीं. We have to study what is there and not bother about what is not there. So 2 sections for companies, 1 for individual HUF, AOP, BOI, AJP, and 2 for cooperative societies. We have to study 5 sections in new taxation regime. Once we finish these 5 sections, our new regime will get over, and finally our introduction ka chapter will get over. Now you are clearly understanding what we have to complete to finish our chapter introduction. That thing should be forever in your brain. Chronology. Right now, what am I doing? After this, what will I do? I do not have to tell you this again and again. You should be able to understand. Acha sir, ye ho gaya, abhi ye ho. Okay. So let us come and discuss new taxation regime. That way, are all the 5 sections obviously different, applicable to different assessees. The rates also will be different. The terms and conditions, the rules and regulations will be different. But in these 5 sections, there are some common points. There are certain things which are common across these 5 sections. So we got to first learn what are those common points in these 5 sections. That applies to ba, bas, bad, be. Bas, bad, be. All of them. Common points and common points. You can call them as features of the new taxation regime. On what principle the new taxation regime has been introduced in one by one. One of the biggest feature, whatever I am writing here is applicable to all the 5 sections. Ye clear? One of the biggest features of new taxation regime is that we are going to reduce your tax rates. Matlab, one thing you will observe in buy and bad. Who are the assessees here? Companies. Compared to their old rates, the rates will be lower. Individual HUF, we have studied slabs. The slabs here will be lower. Means rates will be lower. Cooperative society, we have studied the old rates. The rates here will be lower. Across the new regime, compared to the old regime of the same assessee, the rate of tax is lower in the new regime. New regime is going to give you lower rate of tax. Is that understood? However, to get something in life, you have to forego something. कुछ पाने के लिए कुछ खोना पड़ता है. अरे bro, and if you don't, because you will be like, sir, philosophy ये सब don't do with us. Yeah, we know all this. We are heated, beaten. Everything has happened to us. Philosophy must. So anybody who is follower of Ranbir Kapoor, ये जवानी है दीवानी बनी. You don't know, he said, कहीं पहुंचने के लिए कहीं से निकलना पड़ता है. तो bro, you have to come out of your comfort zone. I, for reaching on time, have to get up at 4:30. Of course, nobody travels as much as I do, but at least 5:30, 5:45, latest by 6 o'clock, so you must be getting up. If you have to go to office from here, of course. नहा धो के जाते हो ना कि रात को घर पे आके नहा के सोते हो कि बस सुबह उठ के ऑफिस? नहीं, just asking, bro. And this you have to do for the next 3 months. And like it or hate it, you have to do it. Then do it with a smile on your face. The results will come. You are foregoing your sleep, your late night parties, your friends are going out, you are not. But you will get the returns soon. You are almost there. Almost there. But then this is a policy of life that whenever you want something, you have to forego something. And if you want a reduction in your tax rates, then there is a long range of tax benefits in the form of exemption, deduction. If we talk about only for example purposes, individuals get exemptions in salary, leave, travel allowance, house rent allowance. You'll have to forego all that. In business profession, you get a deduction called additional depreciation. You have to forego that. Scientific research, there is something called specified business. If you do business in special economic zone, you get deduction. You have to forego all that. But of course, all this is very, very macro. At your level and my level, we garib people, poor people, chapter 6A deductions not allowed in the new taxation regime. Or let me put it this way, GTI is only taxable income. Agar aapko samajh mein aata what I am saying, GTI minus chapter 6A is NTTI. No deductions. One or two exceptions are there, but you take it as no deduction. No life insurance, medical insurance, 80C, 80D. By the end of the batch, I'll make you eligible for 80U. No deductions. So of course, reduction in tax rate will come with a catch that you will have to forego your exemption deduction. So the system is take deductions to reduce NTTI, pay tax at the higher rate. Don't take deduction, increase NTTI, pay tax at the lower rate. Out of the two liabilities, whichever is beneficial, pay that. Finish. You understood or no? Of course, we'll see what is the reduction. Matlab suno, I am not teaching you the reduction of the individual section right now, or what tax benefit company has to forego or individual has to forego. But one thing is for sure, all of them have to forego something to get a reduction. And that is why I call it features of the new taxation regime. Individually, whatever may be the detailing, but these points will apply to all the 5 sections. You forego tax benefit and we reduce your tax rate. Ye samjha everyone? Okay, next. The saddest part of my life. If auntie removes this one word and says new regime is compulsory, I will surrender myself at her feet and tell her, maro mujhe maro. Main pagal hu, maro. You've seen that parachute wala guy? Land karwa do, land karwa do. You've seen that guy? You have? Your smiles tell me so. No, we have to censor a few words, bro. Come on, it's a class. But you understood. I will do the same thing. I will tell her, auntie, kill me. Kill me. I apologize for every word spoken against you in my class for so many years. If she removes this word optional and makes it compulsory, because if this was compulsory, we wouldn't have studied old regime last 2 lectures. We don't have to study a chapter called special economic zone. We don't have to study scientific reason. We don't have to study chapter 6A. 30% of your syllabus is gone. The day new regime is compulsory, no, believe me, 30% of your syllabus is gone. I will take one extra batch for you and get paid the same amount. Because when syllabus increased, my salary did not. So obviously it will reduce. So I am not going to reduce my fees and get one extra batch per year. And if no extra batch, see, extra batches does not make sense. Whoever has to come will come as per schedule. Spend time with family. Don't take the extra batch. Simple enough. I will apologize. But she won't do that because removal of life insurance, medical insurance deduction is a threat to the entire stock market, entire economy. Markets will collapse. You understand the logic? We have discussed that also. So she can't do that. So she is smartly doing what? She is trying to make the new taxation regime look attractive. It is not attractive. It is not attractive. She is trying to make it look attractive. She is releasing numbers in the public domain saying that 72% people have opted for the new taxation regime. Because ये human nature है. You buy what other people buy. बोला wow 1 lakh subscribers on YouTube. मतलब मस्त होएगा. Because everyone is doing it. Bro, watch for half an hour. You know, there is a company which sells energy drink called Red Bull. When Red Bull came to the Indian markets, people did not accept. It was very expensive. A soft drink ka tin comes for about 20, 30, 40 rupees. And Red Bull initially entered in Indian markets at 200 rupees ka MRP. And their target audience was college going kids. It was a time when I was in college. When Red Bull came to India, so we could not afford that 200 rupees ka energy drink because it gives you wings. No. They used a smart strategy. Starting when they started distributing free cans, like what I am doing at CA Intermediate right now. Smart hai, bro. They also used one more strategy. Outside colleges, they started throwing empty cans. वो भी bulk में empty cans. Outside nightclubs, discos, pubs, near their dustbin, full dustbin is overloaded with garbage, and around the dustbin, you know, many a time when the dustbin is overloaded, the garbage lies around the dustbin. They started throwing empty cans. With so much of Red Bull coming in the visibility, people started thinking, yeah, so many people are drinking. Chalo buy karte. And product was good, of course. That's when it could actually gain some audience in the Indian markets. So this is human tendency that people will buy what other people are buying without thinking. Auntie is targeting that and telling you 72% have opted for the new regime. If she can release the database, challenge, open challenge. New taxation regime. I will not let my client take till the time this word exists. That day when this word is removed, obviously we don't have a choice. But she will not make it compulsory because she does not want the blame of collapse in the markets. So she is like, everyone is taking new, you should also take new. But I am not removing old, so you can take old if you want. So that if you take the new regime, the responsibility is yours. It was your choice to do so. So you can't blame her. So we don't expect her to remove the old regime in the near future. If she does, I will surrender myself at her feet. But today, the new regime is, at least till the time your exams have to be conducted, new regime is optional. You have to solve the questions as per the new regime as well as the old regime. So tax as per old, tax as per new, obviously whichever is beneficial. Next, if it is optional, that means you have to decide, sir. Old can you? See, as a taxpayer, if you're getting an option, that means you have to choose no. You have to exercise your option on or before 139(1) due date. Now, 139(1) is basically section for return filing. One fine day, we will be doing this. But for general knowledge, I am telling you, especially those of you who worked in audit, in Indian income tax law, there are 3 due dates of filing income tax return. John. For those who are covered under international tax transfer pricing, the due date is 30th of November. If you don't have international tax, but you're still covered under audit, then the due date will be return filing due date is October, tax audit ka due date is September. So 1 month after the audit due date, you will have your return due date. And for poor people like us, the due date is 31st of July. So you check whichever is your applicable due date. You can't have all the 3, huh? One person can have only one due date. Before that due date, you have to take your call, old regime or new regime. Ye clear? And which is again applicable to all the 5 sections. Whatever I am writing here, I hope you have clearly understood are common points applicable to all the 5 sections of new taxation regime. Next. In our income tax law, there is a chapter called MAT, Minimum Alternate Tax. Whether online or offline, Gujus, all the Gujus, online or offline, give me a loud cheer. Yay! 1, 2, 3, start. Acha, hey. I could hear still. Huh? You can call it minimum outflow tax. That's the concept. Okay, chal. Any Marwadi on the house? Loud cheer. Yeah. कोई नहीं, minority community. Minimum outflow tax. Chal, if I speak, if I say that Maharashtrians, so that is an inappropriate thing to say because all of us are. I strongly believe whatever be our mother tongue, our state ka language should get more respect than anything else. And I don't belong to any political party. And that I am not politically motivated. Because I have been to south of India, because I have been to Kerala for so many years, they speak only Malayalam. Even the most educated people, they will not speak in English. They speak with each other only in Malayalam. That much is the respect. Then there is no Hindu, Muslim, Christian. They are all Malayalis in Kerala. I have seen the culture. And same is the case for all states, in most of the states in South. Unfortunately, somehow we don't, seem to respect our state ka language. But I tell my friends, students, at least I am more Marathi than Marathi. So, in this to everything, everyone should give a loud cheer. Give a loud cheer. Ye tumhara loud tha. You call yourself proud Maharashtrians. 1, 2, 3, start. Yes. Minimum evada tax. But it should start with A. Minimum this much tax you will have to pay. If you are a company, you are going to be covered in a chapter called minimum alternate tax. Whatever be your normal tax liability, if it is lower than this amount, then you have to pay minimum this much. Or you can say normal tax or minimum alternate tax, whichever is higher. But MAT is applicable to which assessee? Companies. And there is another tax, alternate minimum tax. So MAT is minimum. English MAT is alternate. Actual full name is minimum alternate tax for companies. And what is AMT? Alternate minimum tax for others. Same logic. Normal tax or AMT, whichever is higher. So, what is the difference between MAT and AMT? Assessee. Companies have MAT, and other assessees have normal tax or MAT, whichever is higher. Normal tax or AMT, whichever is higher, is the rule. And MAT and AMT are our chapters 15 and 16, last 2 chapters of volume 1. MAT, AMT are the last 2 chapters, jiska PDF also I have given you till now. Ladies and gentlemen, one big piece of news for you in the new taxation regime. Obviously, dekho. They have MAT, but not in the new regime. And they have AMT, but not in the new regime. MAT, AMT changes, no, assessee by assessee. New regime mein MAT, AMT will not be applicable. Matlab, any assessee who goes for new taxation regime does not have to calculate or pay any minimum alternate tax or alternate minimum tax. Only normal tax is applicable. So, old regime is what? Normal tax or MAT, whichever is higher. Normal tax or AMT, whichever is higher. But in new regime, it is only normal tax. And that also as per the reduced rates. Ye samjha? And last, and very important. Is it possible that you have got some income at special rates? Come on. They will continue to apply. And let me explain. Isme samajh mein, you will understand like this. NTTI is your net taxable total income on which you calculate tax. We have till now always done what? Segregated our NTTI into normal income and special income. Ye correct hai? Normal income ko you can decide old regime or new regime. That's your choice. Special income will always be taxable at special rates. Special income will always be taxable at special rates. Normal income can be old or new. Special income will always be taxable at special rates. So whether you take old regime or new regime, long-term capital gain will remain at the same. Casual winning will go in 30%. You can choose old or new only for your normal income. I think this chart explains it. So MAT, AMT not applicable, but special rate. And these 6 points are same across the assessees. What are the features of the new regime? Try to learn them in class itself. Same points. Matlab all the 6 points are applicable to all the 5 sections. Point 1. Try to answer without looking at the PDF or the notebook. So this will serve as your revision in class itself. Reduction in tax rates, but only if you forego certain tax benefits. The new regime is optional. You have to choose your option on or before the due date of filing return. MAT AMT as based on the SSC, but will not be applicable. However, special rate, if any, will continue to apply. Are these common points? But then there are some differences also. See, common points understood. Between the 5 points or 5 sections, there are some differences. But what is the difference? Please pay attention. See how I am doing it. First section is BAA. Then we have, of course, orally I have told you between them the differences, manufacturing and non-manufacturing. Other than that, we also have weight. BAD and BAE are for whom? So this is company, this is cooperative society versus 115 BAC. So there are about 2-3 differences, but only here. Matlab, with respect to these points, these sections are still the same. If there is any difference, it is only where? Here. Matlab, wait. As far as these 6 points are concerned, they are same for all 5 sections. And as far as these 2-3 points are concerned, am I keeping them under differences? But in these 4, it is still a similarity. If the difference lies, it lies where? 115 BAC. So you may put it this way. The sections for companies and cooperative societies are same in all aspects. But for individual HUF, the section which we have created is different in a few aspects. These aspects same, but there are a few things which are different only under 115 BAC. You understood? So I am teaching you the differences only for the purpose of 115 BAC. First difference. If you can give me this, I will divorce my wife and marry you. Give this to me, please. And if you think that you know the correct answer, but you don't want to attempt because you'll be like, sir, by mistake right ho gaya to, then we have the trouble of, no, see, that is only to give as an offer. I have given this offer in every batch. Mostly the people give the wrong answer only. So you and me both are safe. In case someone gives the correct answer, I still try to purposely find out some mistake in that answer, so that I have to withdraw the offer. Because that offer is only for classroom time pass purposes. I am in a very, very happy space wherever I am. And वैसे भी देखो, now it does not make sense because the age gap between you and me is 15 plus years. वो why भी match नहीं करेगा bro. So if at all I have to date someone also, I will date someone my age, which I have no plans of. I mean, that just बता रहा हूँ. I am very happy in life. बिल्कुल भी कोई प्लान नहीं है दूर तक. बट क्या है, you know, the comedian जाकिर खान, वैसे तो मैं बहुत सख्त हूँ बट पिघल गया. So, but that also I will ensure my age. So you have to just try and give the answer. Point is only that much. So please give the answer. Please give the answer. Now you don't be like, nahi sir, offer hai, then only answer. Otherwise no answer. Chal, we'll think about it. At least attempt. Come on. Hint do. I have taught you this already. So I am not asking you to make wild guesses. I will never ask a question on something that I have not taught. If I do that, I will tell you that try karo. Try, attempt, guess. But I am saying give me the correct answer. That means I have taught you. Don't open the PDF of the textbook and check. Because if I have taught you, मतलब notebook में भी मिल जाएगा. Now, surcharge. नहीं नहीं हाँ
BAC stack.
NRI wrong
BAC stack that slab it so flat.
नहीं एक मिनट करीम can you elaborate what you're trying to say? You typed something. I want to understand what you are trying to say. Karim. बोलना स्लो मोशन जल्दी बोल. हाँ देख यार अभी करीम कैसा है पता है. You are in a different state altogether. And I, long distance relationship, I will not be able to handle. So I have to withdraw the offer. Yes, it is the correct answer and absolutely correct answer for those who heard what he said. नहीं सुनाई दिया? Observe carefully. So in these two sections, these two places, they have mentioned domestic resident. And now do you observe here they have not written anything. And what does direct tax expect from you? Understand what is written and also understand what is not written. Read between the lines. Have they written resident individual, resident HF? Nahi na. Nahi na. What does this mean? That if the individual is resident or the individual is non-resident and HUF, AOP all, they are eligible. Yahan pe and yahan pe it is still same, no? The difference if at all exists, it exists only under BAC. So can I say, here they have clearly mentioned for companies what word? Domestic. And here for cooperative society. But here they have not mentioned anything. And thus, what bro? Resident as well as non-resident. Both are going to be covered. Are you samjha kya bro? Fantastic. Second difference. But now you realize the difference exists only in BAC. Matlab one more time I wish to clear this. These 6 points are same for all sections including 115 BAC. These 2-3 points that I am doing here are different only in 115 BAC. For the remaining 4 sections, this is also same. You samjha na? So what is that? First is observed and understood now. Resident, non-resident both covered. Second, is new regime optional? Matlab you have to decide before the due date. See, if you decide, so you decide and say, sir, I want old, I want new. But supposingly you don't decide anything. Aap samjha what I am trying to say? Maybe you missed your due date only. Say, what have they said? You have to decide before due date of return file. But you missed your due date. There are people who miss the due date. That means you have not spoken anything. Old can you? Dekho. In the law, they have given you the option. You say, old can you, old can you, old can you. But what if you don't say anything? Then by default, automatically, here they will keep you in the older regime. The default regime is the old regime. Means if a company, if a cooperative society, it does not specifically say, sir, new, so it will remain in old. It will remain in old. Matlab now can I say, therefore, new will be available only and only if you exercise the option in your ROI, and that also you have to do on or before your 139(1) due date. Means if you don't speak anything, they will put you in, come on, old regime. New will be available only if you opt for it. So, एक second. If you come here, is it optional? Yes. You have to choose new before due date. If you don't choose anything, you go in old. That's applicable to companies and societies. BAC में difference है. What you were saying was BAC का answer. And market में people are only talking about BAC. Outside the classroom, people are only talking. तो क्या we study only BAC? नहीं. That's what I'm telling you. That what you have heard from people outside the classroom is about BAC. And this also, what if I tell you that when these sections were introduced about 4-5 years ago, this point was actually same. Here also it was by default old, choose new. I'll tell you what, those days I used to say new is optional, exercise new before due date because by default it will be old. But last year again a very big amendment took place and they actually completely changed what is written in BAC. And because it is the most spoken thing outside the classroom, maybe you have little idea that by default you will be put in new regime. देखो, understand the objective of the government. Government wants you to go in new regime without forcing you. आप समझ रहे हो? So they are first motivating. How? Okay, everyone is taking new, you should also take new. They are trying to float fake numbers. They are trying to show you that new regime is beneficial. New regime is not beneficial. They are trying to show it as beneficial. And one more game they played last year. They observed a lot of people are filing return late. बोला अच्छा ठीक है. If you don't speak anything, we will put in. नहीं तो earlier what was happening? Those who are late, so by default they were in old, but government wants to put you in new. So बोला we'll find an easy way of putting people in the new regime. Anybody who misses the due date will directly go in the new regime. मतलब anybody who does not speak anything vocally, openly, कि I want old, we will put you in new regime. In fact, if you want to take old regime for business profession people, especially those who have filed returns will be aware of this. Before you actually file your return as per the old regime, which you are exercising, you have to first fill up a form saying that I want old regime 10 IEA. If you must have worked in tax, you have little idea. नहीं तो छोड़ दो. वैसे भी filing returns is not considered as working in tax. In fact, that spoils your knowledge because website is only not working. हाँ, so by default, if you don't declare anything, by default we will put you under the new regime. मतलब in these sections by default we will put you under old and new only if you exercise, but for 115 BAC by default we will put you in, and therefore old only and only if you exercise वही the option in ROI on or before the due date. So is the second difference understood? What the difference exists only under 115 BAC. First, resident, non-resident both covered, and second, default regime. And that was amendment last year. So if I have to just speak last year amendment, BAE was introduced. In BAC, they included AOP, BOI, AJP. They changed the default regime of BAC. They changed the basic rates of BAC, surcharge of BAC, rebate of BAC. They changed everything in BAC. And this year again, there are amendments in BAC. So that way, if you'll observe, in BAA, BAB, BAD, BAE, there is no amendment. In all other assesses ka tax rates, the only amendment that has taken place is foreign company ka old regime has become certified. No other amendment. But in this part, in this section, when we will go, right now also we are learning only similarity and differences. Finishing 5 sections is the target. Once we finish that, then the chapter is over. So once this introduction is over, and the introduction is now about this last point. Once this last point is over, I have to give a heading BAC and teach you. Then BAA, BAB for companies and BAD, BAE for cooperative societies. I finish those 5 sections and I finish my first chapter. It's all about this last point. Once again, maximum amendments have taken place in 115 BAC. So once we do those sections, you will come to know about the amendments. But are the 6 similarities in all the 5 sections clear? And there are 3 differences only in BAC. First is resident, non-resident both covered, and second is, come on, default regime is now the new regime. By default, you will be in new only if you exercise the option, you will be put in old. Now let's talk about the left side. For the left side, you have to keep the law of the left side in your mind. By default, old. So new will come only if I choose. Matlab, option once exercised. Now you will have to use your brain on the basis of what is written here. When I say option is exercised, matlab what have I done? Option has to be exercised to go to new, otherwise by default you are in old only. So when I say this, what do I mean by this? I have gone from old to new. Correct? Eh? That is the meaning of exercising the option. Otherwise, automatically or by default, I was in old only. Once the option is exercised, that means you have gone from the old regime to new regime. You will forever and ever be in new regime. Matlab, this option has to be exercised only once. It is one way. Once you go there, you can't come back. Once you go from the old regime to the new regime, tell me, by default, old. You're like, arey yaar, new. So go before the due date. Once you go, you cannot come back. One way. And if you want to relate this concept with your daily life, tax will become easy if you are able to relate this to your day-to-day life. It is like your CA course. Old course, new course. You can go from old to new. Achha, you all are the rarest case where institute announced a new course and deleted the old course altogether. Historically, traditionally, since the time I am in Chartered Accountancy, I have seen syllabus change at least 4 or 5 times. Myself personally affected when I started studying for CA, we used to study for a course called PE1. I studied PE1 for 6 to 8 months and then institute announced, no, we are bringing an exam called CPT. And we migrated from old course to new course. We were given option. You can remain in PE1 because you started studying or move to CPT, old or new. And they used to run parallel attempts. 3-4 attempts that they used to be conducting exam as per old, exam as per new. You can choose. Every time they changed the syllabus, they did this. Except this syllabus where they directly discontinued. November 23 was the last exam for old course. May 24 directly new. Because it was assumed if 2 subjects are being removed, it does not make sense to run parallel attempts. Nobody loves costing so much. Come on. And law, I am not even talking. I am not even talking. No one loves, you love costing? Bro. No, you love law. No one loves law. Correct, Anna? So they removed. But in the good old days, they used to run parallel attempts, old as well as new. So by default, you were in the old course already registered. New course is announced. You have to fill a form. So what will happen? You will go from old to new. Otherwise, by default, chal yaar. Mat chal. By default, you are old. You exercise the option of going to new. Once you go in the new course, you can never come back to the old course. That philosophy applies in these first 4 sections. One way. Once gone, you can never return from there. Like the underworld. Too deep. You can go, but you can never return from there. Ye clear hai? Only when you liquidate, matlab you die. But this right side is again confusing. Now, mentally come to the right side. Assessee covered. Individual HUF, AJP. Even if non-resident. By default, new regime. That means old will apply only if you exercise the option before the due date. But now what about this thing? For this purpose, we will divide taxpayers into 2 categories. Don't mix your office knowledge here. Theoretically, it is same as what has happened in office. Of course, office mein practically we have to fill up an extra form. Taxpayers will be 2 categories. People who do not have income under PGBP. Now, these are those people who don't have to fill that form 10IE. If you mix office knowledge. But I request you not to mix office knowledge because people who have worked in audit are wondering, Kai challa hai? Kai bolto? So, let us keep it simple for everyone present here. 2 categories, people who don't have PGBP income and people who simple. For those who don't have PGBP, you can exercise your option. What is your option? Go to old. Go to old is the option. Because by default we are keeping you under new. So option means exercise option and go to old by filing your return before the due date and exercising the option. You can do this on a year-on-year basis. You can change the option every year any individual, we are talking only about BSc assessees, individual HUF, AOP, BOI, AJP, not having PGBP income can change the option every year. मतलब you can choose your option like old. Old चाहिए तो before due date only if you exercise. Otherwise by default new. So you choose old. Old. Next year you miss the due date तो new. But again next year before the due date you can go to old. Old, new, 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 old, 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 new, old, new, old, 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 new, 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 old, new, old, new, old, new, new, old, new, old, new, old, new, old, new, old, new, every year you can change your option. You can change your option on a year-on-year basis. लोकेश इज लाइक कितना चिल्लाता है, धीरे बोल ना, कान में इधर हेडफोन फट रहा है मेरा. Bro, when dead bodies attend lectures, no, so you have to awaken them. तो क्या करूं? Have you ever seen your own expression during the entire class? You know how depressing it is for me? So I have to wake you up from the deep sleep that you are in. Do you understand? You have the option of changing your regime on a year-on-year basis. Is that clear? Fantastic. This was easy because I related this with your CA course. By default old, once you go in new, forever new, cannot change. This is still easy. You tell me to do it again, sir, once more. वही है. Old, new. Okay. We have better things to do in life, you and me both have. Okay? This is the most confusing of all. This is the most complicated of all. But by the end of it, I will relate this with some event in your life. That has happened in your life. You have forgotten, but I know it. An event of your life that you have forgotten, but I know it. I will relate it with that event and you will be able to take home this concept also very, very peacefully. First, understand simple things, and more you participate, better understanding will come. I am an individual HUF, therefore I fall in BSc. Whether I have PGBP or no PGBP, I am still under BSc. And once I am in BSc, what is my default regime? Chalo. So let's start with saying that, because that you are already aware. Default is new. Therefore, option is what? Old to new. Am I allowed to exercise that option? Sorry, I was checking if you're paying attention. Option is what? New to old. You know why eye contact is important? Hey, Kasa is? What's your name? Shubham. What does it mean? होगा कुछ से, क्या मतलब? Okay. Auspicious. Eye contact required. Otherwise, everything will become inauspicious. By default, you are where? New. So option is to move from new to, correct hai? This option you can do on or before 139 due date. Now where are you? Old, no? You have exercised your option, matlab you have gone in the old regime. Now you are in old. Every year you don't have to do anything. For example, this year I filled the form 10 IEA and I chose the old regime for myself because I am never going to go new regime in the new regime till the time old regime is in existence. As a taxpayer, as someone who has knowledge of tax, I am very clear about this. I won't go. But then what I want you to understand is, form fill up karke now I have gone to the old regime. Now I don't have to do this every year. I am going to stay in the old. Some years later, I feel like, sir, yaar, I am not comfortable in English. Nahi fata hai in Gujarati. Zamnar nahi in Marathi. Nahi Jambu, nathi. I am not liking it, sir. I want to go from old back to new. Allowed. Means these guys were never able to, or allowed to return. They went from old to new, but they can never come back. Correct? Hai? These guys went from new to old. Now where are they? Old. Are we allowing them? Yes. You can come from old to new in future, but now you will be in new regime forever. Now old regime will be inapplicable to you for life. Bro, this is more confusing than demonetization. It's not like जा सकता है, आ सकता है. Okay, let's talk about simple things. First, the other four sections. By default, old. Exercise option and go to. That means once you exercise, there is no question of coming back. Correct hai? CA course. Simple. Individual HUF without PGBP is also simple. By default, new. Exercise option before due date and go to old. But this you can do every year. Old, new, old, new, old, new. Now let's talk about individual HUF with PGBP. By default, new. If you want, then before due date, go to old. And stay there, stay there, stay there. Some years later. Nahi sir. Come back. But can't go again. So you can go from new to old. You can return from old to new, but you can't go again. Matlab, I'll tell you what. Here and here, the common thing is you can exercise your option only once. But the difference is, here once exercise, you can't reverse it. Here once exercise, you can reverse it, but not exercise second time. So this old to new, then new forever. This is the easiest year on year basis. This new to old. Some years later, next year also, whenever you want, back from old to, but now forever, new, now old regime, not applicable. है ना confusing? New to old to new, bus, that's it. Okay, I'll make this simple. Has this become simple? By relating it to CA course, once you go from old to new, forever. This is so easy. I can repeat that old, new, but you understood year on year basis. So let's talk about this. Life will be sorted after you pay attention to this event of your life. Anybody who has ever been to a stadium to watch a match or a movie hall, cinema hall or a drama auditorium mein? Yes? I assume you purchase tickets. So you purchase a ticket and you enter the cinema hall. Are you allowed to enter the cinema hall with the ticket? Fantastic. You did not like the show. So can you come out of the cinema hall? But now you can't go again. Theme park, water park, Imagica, Aqua Magica, Water Kingdom, everywhere. Buy a ticket. Enter the park, enter the cinema hall, enter the stadium. Not liking the performance, not liking the show, not liking the game. Come out of the stadium. Can't go again. No? But why? I show it to you. That ticket is your option. By default, where are you? Outside. Outside matlab new. Buy the ticket and enter the stadium. That is old. Did not like the show? Come out. Matlab come back where? New. Now you can't go back. Nah. Thug life है. नहीं आगे का lyrics. Please, after class, the boys wait back. We'll do all that. Male talks. Keep the classroom atmosphere good. We have to be we have to be very, very sophisticated, and we have to be careful that females are present in the class. In our absence, what they speak to each other and the kind of words they use, we all know. But we have to respect. Look at your smiles. Sir, मैं आज सकाळीच बोलली होती. तो ब्रो सुनो वही सिनेमा हॉल का एग्जांपल. बाय टिकट, गो इनसाइड मतलब ओल्ड रेजिम, कम आउट मतलब न्यू रेजिम. कांट गो अगेन. हो गया? इज दैट क्लियर? बट देयर इज वन थिंग कॉमन बिटवीन सीए लोग एंड बाबा लोग. बाबा और फीमेल में बाबी ऑल्सो. अरे बाबास समझ शी डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड के बाबा मतलब अरे वो डिफरेंट टाइप्स का वो दिस डेज देखो नो. राधे राधे गुरुजी मेरे चरणों में आपका प्रणाम. बाबा लोग. नाउ यू अंडरस्टूड हु आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. People will come to you and ask for solutions to their problems. You need to have an answer for every problem. People have blind faith on you. If you are there, something will happen. So I as a client come to you. Pehle understand my problem. I was earlier by default in new regime. I went to old by exercising my option. Now where am I? Old. I have withdrawn my option and come back to the new. Matlab I have come right up till here. Now where am I? New. Now, my dear CA, please, I want old regime. Please, old regime. You understood the question? On the basis of what is taught to you till now, what's your answer? No, sir, second time you can't go. Means once you come back from old to new, now you can't go back. But that can't be the answer of a chartered accountant. You need to have answers to every question. Offer do. Divorce my wife and marry you. हाँ बोल, try कर. ए ऐसा you can't be discussing. 3-4 people are discussing इधर क्या group में नहीं चल रहा है इधर. How will I handle so many? It's very difficult to handle one. Individually you have to answer. You can't be discussing amongst yourself and answer. Try करो ना. Partnership firm does not have new regime on regime. No, sir, I want to go. Somebody has typed it. I want to go. From new to old, if PGBP का income stops. वही कैसे बोला? You said new assessee. नहीं, I'll explain. Maybe you were thinking correct, but you couldn't speak correctly. अच्छा ही है ना? If you start speaking the correct law, thinking तो ठीक है. Then there will be a threat to my profession also. So let me speak. Okay? I am the proprietor of my business, supposing. Now I have done all this, so I can't get old regime because new to old, old to new. I have done it. Idea: make my spouse the proprietor of that business and start taking salary from that business. So I no longer am an assessee having PGBP, which makes me this assessee. An assessee not having PGBP. Ta-da! Bola. Year on year basis. When I say stop PGBP, I don't mean that I stop earning income altogether. Best way of auntie is, favoring the taxpayers. How? With her policies, people are not earning income. Best way of not paying tax is stop earning income. Go and settle down in the Himalayas. Pranayam karo. Nahi bro. Continue your income in a different. So you said incorporate a company, but company if you incorporate, no, then you go in a different regime altogether. We had to stay in the individual definition. So I took the example of spouse. Here open HUF, something like that. Clear hua? So 3 differences only under 115 BAC. First, resident, non-resident, both will get covered. Second, by default, here you will be in new, so old you have to exercise before the due date. And third, about changing of option. Non-PGBP, year on year basis. PGBP, by default, new, exercise option of old. So now you are in old. You want to come back, you come back to new. You can't go to old, but only if you stop PGBP, maybe we will know. Is that clear? So basically, ladies and gentlemen, you now know all the features of the new taxation regime. Sab kuch. Correct hai? All we are required to do is, believe me, if I start next lecture, I will actually do BAC first because it has got maximum amendments. I will do BAC. Listen to me carefully. Ab BAC ke andar, to be very honest, only these 2 points I have to teach you in detail. Think about it. What are the new rates and what are the tax benefits that I have to forego? Because this you have understood. Now you have understood the complication involved in BAC about exercising of option also. This is the one liner. If you want, I will write again. AMT not applicable because BAC wala cases come under AMT and special rates applicable. So I can repeat the lines if you want. But actually teaching part is only this much. And same is the case of the other 4 sections. The features are over. The similarities and differences are over. So in all probability, we are going to get done with our all the 5 sections एंड उसमें भी मेजर पार्ट वी हैव कवर्ड अप ओनली. So we are going to obviously continue and finish this in the next class. Next class is on Monday. ठीक है.